don't ever let me be. I only wanna be by your side. Please, don't ever let me be. I only wanna be by your side. Girl, you really got me now. You got me so I don't know.
And here we go. Welcome back, y'all. I am excited. This is why I wanted to do this podcast, for just this reason. For reasons like this, I should say, is if you would have asked me when I started this thing, list the top 50 people or kind of industry or whatever you would want to have on, male model would have and nothing against what you do, but it just would never have occurred to me to have a male model on, or that I would know somebody who knows a male model as successful as yourself, right? But anyways, international man of mystery, worldwide Mr. Good Looking. We have Parker Gregory on the podcast today. How you doing, Parker?
Doing pretty good. Thanks for having me, man.
Hey, man, thanks for being on here. This is really exciting, for real.
Now, this is exciting for me too. I've never been on a podcast. I've listened to tons of them.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
What do you listen to?
Joe Rogan.
Yeah, of course.
Big fan of that guy. I listen to a Guns, Gear, and Beer.
Okay. What is that one about? I never heard of that one.
Just guys just talking about
sitting
whatever.
around bullshitting.
Yeah, sitting around BSing. And then I also listen to Philosophize This.
Okay.
It's pretty cool. They give you a breakdown on philosophers through time, who they were, what they're about, what their theories and everything were based on, what could have been their demise. Like, you get like a really cool breakdown on each guy.
I'm writing that down. What is that called?
Philosophize This. It was actually recommended to me by some buddies in New York. Yeah, it's pretty dope. Yeah, Marcus actually put me onto that. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I'm gonna check that one out. That sounds really badass.
Yeah.
So good, man. That's really cool. Welcome to the Lone Star Podcast. We're not as well known as the Joe Rogan Podcast, but if we can get
who else is?
Exactly.
I mean, he's up there, man.
Exactly.
But he's such an interesting guy to listen to. It's like, he's smart.
Yes.
I'm like, damn, Joe's a smart dude.
Yeah. And it's becoming more and more.
And he doesn't give a shit.
No, that's true. But it's coming more and more apparent to me as I try and host these things.
Yeah.
And recall things off the top of my head, using my stupid memory to try and remember history or battles in World War I, or somebody who did this and that. I think the only thing I have them on would be sports. I can go out with football and basketball, and I can read you some stats and tell you some teams and this and that, but that would be it. That's all. But it's
I mean, there's not many people that can just do that either.
Yeah, but other than that, man, like, so a buddy of mine was giving me shit the other day because I was talking about Martin Luther on the first podcast. Not Martin Luther King, but Martin Luther, the German priest that kind of was a big change in the game of the Bible and religion and how it all went in that sense or whatever. But anyways, I was saying he was English on the podcast, and my buddy called me up and he's like, "Hey, dumbass, he's German." And I'm like, "What shit, dude? He's over there," But so yeah, having to recall all that off the top of your head, mad props to anybody
he also,
that can do that.
It's like one of the nice things and luxuries that he has is when he can't recall something or he's got a guy.
Bring it up, Jamie.
Yeah, bring it up.
Yeah.
Hey,
exactly.
Can you find that? Mm-hmm. And the guys are like, "Yeah, no problem, Joe. Yeah, we got this." And then you'll hear him like jump in from the background, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, "Hey, bring that up right here." And it's like, boom, screen.
Yeah,
it's like,
exactly.
He's
That's a sweet luxury, because I've tried to do that myself, pulling things up while I'm.
We need to get a third guy in this chair right here.
Yeah, well, it's in the work. I can't. Anybody who wants to come is very welcome, but I can't afford to pay you, and you're probably not going to get anything from it. But if you just want to come hang out and drink some beer, come on.
Yeah, right. And we'll pay you in beer.
Yeah, there you go. But I've tried to do it on here while I'm talking, and I completely lose all conversation. Like, you're sitting there telling me something, and I'm just like, and I'm not listening at all, just because I focus on one thing at once, right? But let's get into your history here, man. So let's start. Where'd you grow up? You grew up in the Houston area, right?
Yeah. grew up around Pasadena, South Houston area. Playing baseball, football, South Houston Wildcat football team, South Houston Little League baseball. Mm-hmm. A lot of my friends from there went to South Houston Trojans High School. We moved over to where my parents actually grew up, Garden Villas, Overbrook area, Mojave Airport. Because I went to a small private school called Mount Carmel. And so we went to elementary and junior high there. So did my parents and their siblings, or should I say my mom's siblings. And then my two younger brothers ended up going to Clear Lake and Clear Creek. Mm-hmm. And they're done with school now as well. But I went 14 years private Catholic school, pre-K, kindergarten, 1 through 12.
All the way through.
All the way through. Working at the school during the summer, during the school year, helping to pay tuition, everything else. And once I finally got done, we convinced our parents finally. I don't know if y'all noticed this, but we can't exactly afford private school, but y'all have been doing it. Yeah. Financial aid, us waxing the floors, fixing and painting lockers. Hey, Parker, school grass needs mowing. You and so, and X amount of other people are going to be out there, running 5 lawnmowers, in a line, like taking off 5 lines at a time out there whole weekend.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's something. That's a little different experience growing up right there, huh?
Yeah, it's good for you though, man. Like I've been working literally making money. I made my first paycheck with my dad. He's a Houston Fire Department.
Okay.
And he's a chief of training over at the academy.
Oh,
and,
wow, that's awesome.
My younger brother, Tyler, he's HFD as well. And they work a shift where they work 24 on, 24 off, 24 on, and then it's like 4 or 5 days off. So, they get that rotation. And so he had a lawn care business growing up to make money on the side.
Yeah.
So I remember I was probably like 11 or 12, and he had me start going out with him. And I was like, oh yeah, this is cool. I'm a big boy. Like, I'm mowing grass. And then I remember he gave me my first $10 bill. He goes, hey, you made some money today. And I was like, whoa, I made $10.
Yeah.
And it was that sense of, I made money. This is awesome. So ever since then, it was like,
what can I do next?
I mean, I remember weekends, like Pee Wee football games in the morning. Dad's got the trailer in tow. Every other kid's going to do whatever on Saturdays. I'm going with my dad to mow lawns. I was like, I got to get another $10. But it was kind of cool. And then, you get older and you look back, you're like, how many lawns did we do? I got $10. Dang, that wasn't much money. I'm like, I think I was being underpaid.
And that Texas heat? Yeah.
Yeah, but I was like, you know what? And then when I was 13 and 14, I was helping my uncle lay cement and build pools. My Uncle Cliff had a pool construction business. So he gave us $20 a day and gave us lunch and Whataburger breakfast.
Damn it.
So I was like, that's actually a pretty good day. $20 cash, no tax, breakfast and lunch involved.
Whataburger, yeah.
Hey, man, and then go over to C&D Burger and get a burger and a milkshake. Dude, I was like, this is pretty solid.
Yeah.
And then, and then I got my first job at the mall when I was 15. My mom signed off for me.
Heck yeah.
So I've been working ever since.
Hustling.
Yep.
For a long time.
Like, got to get that next penny, that next nickel.
Damn. Yeah. That's good. That's, it's funny you say that's good for you growing up. I've had conversations with a few friends of mine. We used to do all kinds of odd jobs, install car stereos.
Whatever you could.
Yeah, whatever, we'd go cut grass. I remember after Hurricane Ike, we got some chainsaws and went and cut trees down. People had trees falling and stuff like that. We went and cut a bunch of stuff up. I was in high school then. But we always had money in high school because we always hustle. Poker games, Madden tournaments, whatever it was, we were trying to make money off of it, right? And it was, I had a core group of friends, right? I had my 3 or 4 buddies or whatever, and one person hit it big doing something, and we'd all be good for a week,
Yeah.
And there was enough to buy a fifth of liquor for the weekend or something, But we were talking about it the other day. We're like, man, these kids today, you don't want to sound like an old man, but the kids today, like, they don't know how to hustle that way. They don't know how to try and get the money.
It's all this It's like, oh, I got to become famous. And it's like, what do you mean you want to become famous? Like, do you just want to be famous or do you want to work? Because if you give me the option of, hey, Parker, do you want to be a really amazing actor or do you want to be famous? And I've been on set before for commercials and like some very small budget, what they call, just like a low budget film, like
indie films,
like a very independent film, very small budget. And for me, I'm like, I could do without the fame. Just doing the work is fun.
Yeah.
But maybe it's just in my nature to be like, no, let's get this. Let's make it good.
Yeah.
Like I've spent, 4:30 mornings shooting until 10 at night before sometimes.
Yeah.
Or, midnight. And it's like, okay, let's get up and let's do it again the next day. Like, I was on a commercial project, 12, 13 years ago, where the sun didn't set till like 10 o'clock, 10:30 at night. Rose super early, and it was
Alaska or something.
No, we were actually down in Argentina.
Oh, okay.
In the south of Argentina, and we were eating dinner at 11 o'clock, 11:30 every night, getting up, hair and makeup, 5 a.m. on the dot at location. So we were getting up early, and we would shoot all day, evening until that sun was gone, and we did this for 13 days, 14 days straight. We had one off day, and it was a travel day to get to another location. But you're like, dude, man, these are long days. It's like we're sleeping like 4 hours a night. But you were like, man, this location's amazing. Like the crew is amazing. It was for Garnier Fructis back in the day, and I had long curly locks. Young buck, looking like I was rolling out of California. Surfing my whole life, and. But you look back and you're like, man, it's not bad. It wasn't that bad. It's not like I'm, somebody in the military where I got to count my blessings. It's like, it's like I could be sleeping 3 hours and getting shot at.
Yeah.
And it's like, thank you for those guys. It's like I could be doing something super, super hard.
Yeah.
And it's not that there's not aspects of our job that are, it's not always just easy and, sunshine and rainbows. But when you look at the grand scheme of things, you're like, you got it pretty good.
Yeah.
It's like, what's the worst of my job? Oh, I've got to do all this traveling, go on no sleep, and then sit in a hair and makeup chair. And it's like, and the sad part is I got to remind myself, I'm like, oh man, come on, man. Like I get impatient with certain things and I'm like, dude, it could be worse.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. That's a good mindset to have. That's something I don't think, anybody I know, I don't really think about that. When I look at actors, like I know like The Rock, you follow The Rock on Instagram, that dude's freaking getting it every day, right?
Dude, he is up early.
Every day.
He travels with a workout trailer. Like he gets a suite at whatever hotel and has his gym equipment and his cardio machine brought in. He's up at like 4:30 in the morning getting his workout in.
Yeah.
He don't miss it.
Yeah, exactly.
He's like, no, man, this is my oxygen. I'm getting this in no matter what.
Exactly. That dude's something else. But you think about like just the big, massive movie stars that do these monster films and have to go, like you said, on set, on destination, and do this for, sometimes those movies are going 60 days at a time, something like that.
Oh, yeah, they're doing this for like 3-4 months, pulling like, 16-hour days, 18-hour days.
But it never comes across on screen that I've ever noticed of someone being fatigued from doing that, right? Like that's nothing I never thought about until just now you were talking about that.
It's just that's why they do multiple takes. Got to get the best one.
Yeah, exactly. That's the hair and makeup just gets more and more every as the months go by, right? But yeah, you don't ever see. Like, you would never look at these guys doing this movie and be like, oh, that's a guy that's been awake for 16 hours a day for the last 45 days, which you're acting, right? And that's why you never hear anything about it, because I would imagine the actors and the people in the industry don't want to, I'm not going to say complain, but they don't want to publicize it and try to get any sympathy or whatever, because they're actors and they're
the last time that happened, Mark Wahlberg, my man, called him out. He was like, dude, what?
Yeah.
Go eat your chicken and go take your hot shower and go to bed. Like, man, really? Come on. And, and that's one of the things that I loved about when Mark Wahlberg said that. I was like, thank you. I'm like, what's the worst of my day? It gets annoying like every 2 minutes, like someone coming in, messing with my clothes, someone with a brush in my face, someone hairspray. Dude, I've probably got like 5 pounds of hairspray like stuck in my lungs, but it's like, okay, at the end of the day, it's like, really, is it that bad?
Got it pretty good.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, I've been blessed. I'm like, I'm really fortunate.
Yeah.
And, you know, I try not to forget that.
Yeah, that's good, man. That's good. That's good to hear.
I'm trying to ride this train as long as it'll go. Because it's like, you know, if this all ended, it's like, well, you know, it's like the man who knows too much now. Mm-hmm. It's like, I've seen the good stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's like, all right.
So how did you get started in modeling? So, and we'll get in that because I'm curious about the acting stuff too, but how did you get started in the modeling?
So, I mean, for me, it wasn't something that I thought was like, I would have, if you'd have asked me when I was a teenager, hey man, you gonna be a model? Yeah, right, dude. Okay, whatever. I started with a local agency here. A friend of my mom's, Tracy Faltry, she was asked by my mother, and I didn't know my mom asked this. She goes, hey, what do you think? She goes, just tell me honestly. If you give me a dead no, I won't bring it up to him.
Yeah.
Because he has no care.
Yeah.
He has no idea. But if so, let me know. Whatever. So she was like, yeah, let me bring him into an agency here in Houston. So my mom brought it up to me. I was like, yeah, all right, whatever. I was like, I'm gonna give it a shot. So I did, you know, stuff like Foley's when Foley's was open back in the day. Academy Sports and Outdoors. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yeah, Academy, baby. I was like, I've been buying sports equipment here for as long as I can remember. I was like, this is awesome. But at the time I was working at the YMCA over in Pearland.
Okay.
And, you know, the jobs were few and far between. It didn't, you know, it was like I still needed my regular job. So I was like, all right, what am I going to do in my life? I'm definitely not going to school. I enrolled in more than one semester, but just didn't go. And I was like, all right, school's out of the question. What am I going to do? All right, well, my dad's a firefighter. My grandfather was a peace officer, the Harris County Sheriff's Department. And I was like, all right, it's going to be one of those. All right, my uncle and my grandfather, both my grandfathers are in the military. Got a bunch of friends going to the military. Yeah, maybe I'll do that. And then I'll come back and I'll go to the fire department or the police academy, whatever.
Yeah.
And so a really close friend of mine, Meredith Moore, she went to school in Pepperdine. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go to California. I'm going to go visit her during her birthday. It'll be spring break. This is going to be awesome. So my cousin Mike and my friend Jeff, we planned this trip. We went out there and did not know that my agency here in Houston had sent photos, you know, just like Polaroids, because back in the day, people actually still use Polaroids. Mm-hmm. And I'll explain more of that later if you want.
Okay.
And so we get there on a Saturday, and they hit me up, and they're like, hey, we knew that you were going out there, so we sent your some Polaroids and, you know, some shots over to a few agencies out there. You'll probably hear from them Monday to come in, if they like you. And I was like, all right, cool. I was like, whatever.
Yeah, a little unexpected surprise there.
Yeah, I was like, all right, cool, whatever. So, you know, the weekend goes by. We're having a good time. And I get a phone call from one agency, and they're like, hey, we got your Parker. Yeah, hey, we're so-and-so with such and such agency. I'm not going to drop any names or whatever because of how some of this went. But, hey, can you come in? We want to meet you and take some I was like, well, you know, I'm actually here visiting my sis. And, you know, because Meredith and I were real close, and we just called each other sis and Bubba. And
yeah.
I was like, and, you know, it's her birthday weekend. I was like, I have a lot of stuff planned. And maybe this was just me being naive. Of course, it was me being very green. And
yes.
Also, I don't really care.
A little cocky, maybe?
No. Just, hey, you know, like, I can't come in. I've got things planned with her or whatever. And I was like, can I come in Friday? Okay, fine. Well, then, you know, then don't worry about it. Okay, well, I'm sorry about that. I can't come today. I was like, whatever.
Yeah.
Well, they ended up calling back later. They were like, yeah, Friday's fine. So the other agencies called, and I was like, they're like, you can't come in today or tomorrow? And I was like, I can come Friday. Like, I'm thinking to myself, I didn't come here for y'all.
Yeah.
And, maybe that was also me being stupid, like not jumping at an opportunity, because most people would be like, what?
Yeah.
Dude, I'd have been over there, lickety split.
Yeah.
That'd have been like Roadrunner, beep, beep, pow, gone.
Yeah.
And this one woman, Jamie, called, and I'll say her name. She's really cool. And she was like, yeah, come in Friday, no big deal. I was like, all right, I like that. So, we went to, so my cousin Mike came with me. And we actually ended up with this really cool taxi driver. He was like, hey, where y'all from? Everything good? Goes, oh, dude. He goes, just pay me this much for the whole day. He's like, I'll just take y'all where y'all need to go and wait. And we were like, what? Oh, dude, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Super cool dude. So we took him, when we got lunch, we bought his lunch because we also didn't have a lot of money anyway. So we were like, dude, how are we going to afford this?
Yeah.
I was like, we may be walking back to Santa Monica from West Hollywood, but, whatever. We'll do what we have to do. And so we went to a couple.
How old were you at this time? Let me stop you real quick.
Dude, I was like, what, barely like 19, 20 years old.
Okay.
So I think it was like 19 or 20.
Uh-huh.
And so, 20 years old, because this was March of 05, because I'd already been doing this for like a year and a half in like Houston.
Okay.
So, we go into these agencies and they're like, hey, Parker, can you come back? And I was like, well, and then so Mike, as my cousin, I've been running with Mike since I was, born.
Yeah.
So he gets up and he rolls with it. They're like, no, just you. And I was like, hey, look, I'm new to this. I was like, can he just come and listen in case I miss anything? And they were like, oh, fine. And I was like, damn, this is how people do business? Or whatever. Just, of course, me being green again in the industry. So, and I wanted Mike there to get a feeler of like him picking up stuff that I wasn't picking up.
Yeah. It's always good to have
because it's like I'm the one being focused on. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I'm probably going to miss a lot of shit that I shouldn't miss. So we'd leave and Mike's like, I don't like those people. I was like, me neither. He's like, all right, but what if they want to represent you? Well, if they're the only ones that want to represent me, then we'll have to make that call. But we'll see. We got some more places to go. We went to another place and Mike was like, nah, dude, that lady just wanted to gobble you up. I was like, dude, I felt the same thing, bro. That's a no-go no matter what. And then the last spot we stopped at was with a lady named Jamie Wren. And she was super cool, man. She didn't blow any smoke up my butt or nothing. She was just straightforward. Everybody's, we really like you. Like, you can definitely do really well. And, but you need to do this and that. And it's like, really? Do I? Like, call me dumb because I don't know any better, but it just seems like a, bunch of smoke up my ass, and I don't really care to hear it.
Yeah.
Jamie was like, oh, yeah, so where y'all from? Oh, this and that. Everything just about butt business. And I was like, she's cool.
Yeah.
She's like, when she got down to it, she's like, look, I'm not going to make you any promises. She's like, you're good looking. She's like, you either are going to get lucky and you could have a career, or you get out there, you're hot for a minute, you feel good, and then nothing ever happens after that. She's like, I'm just going to tell you straight up.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm not going to make you any promises. And I was like, word. I was like, well,
that sounds like real life.
She goes, but I'd love to represent you and give it a shot. And I was like, awesome, let's do it. And she's like, well, think about it over the weekend. She's like, you saw a few agencies today. I was like, yeah, it's okay. I was like, we're good. And my cousin Mike's like, yeah, no. If you want to represent him, he'll sign.
Yeah.
So we signed, and she was like, well, can you stay next week? She's like, I'd love to send you out on some, go see some potential clients, get your face out there. Mm-hmm. And she's like, it'll be much cheaper to just change your flight and try to push it back than trying to come back out. Yep. And I was like, well, that's true. So my cousin Mike and I did that. He stayed with me. We stayed out for almost another week. And, the next thing I know, I was back in Texas and get a phone call. And, I had a couple of jobs over the next couple months that really just set the tone and, got things in motion. And it just, hell, here we are, 2018.
Snowballed from there, huh?
Yeah, it definitely had its climb and its peak. And then when I was in my mid-20s to almost 30, I got into this spot where it wasn't the best. business was definitely slower. I mean, we had, the crisis at 08, 09. Plus, I didn't look 20 and I didn't look 30. So I was in this weird spot where it was like, what's the market? And so, I still had I was still working with people like Macy's and other department stores and a couple clients in Europe, but it just wasn't a whole bunch. And me being me and having just a worker background, I was like, well, I'm going to go do something else to buy my time. So I went to, I had slowly gotten into riding bicycles and everything else. And so, I started making friends with the guys at the local bike shop and just BSing because I like to talk. And next thing you know, I was like, they're like, Parker, you want a job? And I was like, well, yeah, what you got? They're like, we need the columns and everything repainted. Do you ever paint? And I was like, yeah, man, I know how to paint. Let me do this. So I repainted the inside of the whole bike shop during hours. So I was moving stuff around and trying to paint with, in between customers and everything. Yeah. But they gave me a nice little paycheck for it and let me buy a bike at cost. And I was like, sweet. And then after I was done with that, they're like, hey man, we definitely need the help if you want an extra job. And if you've got to run out for a casting or you got to go out of way on a job, no big deal. And I was like, sweet, let's do it.
That's awesome.
And then that was about the time I met a buddy of mine, Francisco, and he's a trainer and he was racing bicycles with the team for quite a while. So, he actually gave me some work. He was like, man, dude, he's like, you have a real natural ability to train people. He's like, let's get you studying and let's get you working. So the next thing I know, I'm training people, helping him coach a cycling team. I'd go out on the team rides with him and he coached, the team that I was on and a female team. So I'd go out on group rides, help out with the women's team, just, whatever he just needed me to help with. Yeah. I didn't know that much about cycling at all at the time. But I was like, hey, man, he's like, hey, look, I've got too many clients. He's like, I want you to take on these people, this person, and everything. So next thing I know, man, I was up at 4 o'clock every day, 4:30 every day, going to bed at 10 o'clock, just hustling. Oh, I got a modeling job. Okay, boom, I'm out. All right, I'm not modeling. I'm working at the bike shop. I'm training people. Yeah. I'm staying working busy. Out, staying busy. Yeah. And then next thing I know, years went by and boom. Called an old friend of mine who's a manager, Marcus. And I was like, hey man, I don't know if you're taking on new clients as a manager, but really want to reevaluate my career and see what I can do, or just tell me if it's over. Yeah. I'll hang it up, Yeah. Just give it to me straight. And he's like, no, dude, this is going to be awesome. That was just over 3 years ago and back on the climb.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah. And I've had a really good group of people in my circle. My girl, Erin, she's rock solid, she's helped change, just for my Instagram alone. I joke that she's my Instagram manager because she's like, babe, I know that you're not really good with social media. She's like, can you just trust me and let me show you how we need to do this and let me run it? Dude, turn it around and boom. I was like, holy crap. I was like, why don't you do this?
That's a skill. I was going to say,
I'm
that's
like,
a skill.
You really understand it.
Yeah.
So mostly anything that goes on my timeline, 99.9%, I try to sneak one in there every now and then. She's like, it has to be approved. Your story, these are your boundaries. And dude, and it works. And then, I've had other friends like my buddy Tarek in New York, my buddy Francisco, just only a few people that, and like my buddy Nick and other people that are just been like my tight group of friends that are always like, dude, you're effing up. Okay. All right. My bad, guys. Yeah. They just keep you grounded. And it's like, if you've got that small circle, you're good. And of course my parents, but
yeah,
my brothers.
Well, that's good, man. So how has social media changed things? When you got into it, MySpace was, just coming about, right? So you're talking about your Instagram page and getting that up and going.
Right, let me, all right. So this is where I'm like for it and against it.
Okay.
All right, so it kind of started even before social media, and you can see I took my hat off and started scratching my hair.
It's about to get serious here, folks.
No, it's not that. It's just that it's kind of funny because I come from the film days, which was a totally different era. When I started, it was film. So you didn't have, so jobs were almost like it was in tiers. If it was a big job, like a big budget campaign, you could almost guess who the photographer was going to be. You know, maybe it was someone you didn't know, but you almost had an idea of like maybe 10, 15 photographers that could possibly have that job.
Yeah.
And if it was a certain client, you were like, oh, it's going to be so-and-so.
Okay.
Or so-and-so, or this guy or that, you know.
Yeah.
Or him or her, like it's going to be one of them.
You can narrow it down pretty quick.
You can narrow it down real quick.
Okay.
Because when it was film, everything was accounted for because you had to pay for each roll of film. So you could put a price on every click of the button.
Makes sense.
So you couldn't hire a bunch of people that could mess up. It was, nope, this is expensive. This has got to count. We've got to get a certain caliber of photographer, set, model, hair and makeup, you know, everybody in there.
Everybody's got to be on point.
Art director, stylist, everything. It was like everybody's got to be on point. Then you had a financial crisis and the digital world at the same time.
Okay.
So then you had post-production in a whole new way. So then you had a bunch of people sneaking in because it was like, oh, like, well, you know, our budgets are down. We can't afford you, this and that. So you had a bunch of people jumping in. Oh, I'll do it for this price. And it was like, and then airbrushing came real big. And you had all this stuff that just really just put a bad taste for a little bit. If you ask me personally, I mean, some people will disagree. That's fine.
Makes sense, though.
But you still had the tier of where everybody was like, oh, that's where you want to be, no matter what's going on.
Yeah.
Then social media came around, and it did a lot of good for a lot of people and a lot of businesses, especially smaller businesses, not just the industry I'm in. You're on there and you discover a business. You're like, oh, man, I like their product. And without social media, they may have never gotten as large as where they are now. They may have just stayed that small local business, but now they're shipping out orders across the U.S. because people discovered them.
Yeah.
But you also get a lot of Insta models that have infiltrated. And it's not saying that you can't do that and become big there and then actually show up and be like, holy crap, they're really good.
Yeah.
And, they're taking other people's jobs. It's happened. But you've also gotten the opposite. Like, hey, we're going to hire so-and-so because they've got X amount of followers, and they show up and they're just, digital or not, they're just wasting time.
Yeah.
Because when you're on set, you have a bunch of looks to do, and it's like boom, 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 next look, boom, 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 next look, and next look. I mean, your next outfit, or, maybe it's the same outfit, but then they want this. They want different variations. Like, hey, we're going to shoot this outfit here, shoot this here, whatever, and it's boom, boom, boom. All right, next look, boom, boom, boom.
Time's money.
Time is money.
Time's money.
It's like, hey, we have X amount of shots, we got X amount of sunlight, or we have X amount of time. We need to get this in. Mm-hmm. And, I've actually been hearing stories now, like, dude, we hired so-and-so, maybe they were a makeup artist, or maybe they were a model, maybe they were a photographer. And they're like, dude, they do not know how to work on set. They don't know how to work with the crew. It was awful. We can't use any of it. Or we got 2 shots out of the whole day. And I've actually talked to other photographers and, photo assistants where they're like, one in particular, he's like, we always judge a model out of how many shots out of 10 shots can we use? And he's like, we like to say 7 or 8 because you're definitely going to catch one where we just happen to snap it when you're blinking or you're changing and it's just not the right setup.
Yeah.
If you can nail 7 or 8, solid. That is a damn good model.
Yeah.
And, the photographer has to be on point too. Like everybody's got to be there. If you're just, I can just snap and the model's going to do their job. No, the photographer has to follow and know when to click and catch the shot and everything else. It's a huge team effort. Like, you get a lot of models, side note, where it's like, I'm everything here. And it's like, no, you're one of the main pieces that make this whole thing work. That's how I look at it from my job.
Yeah.
I'm just as important as the guy over there who is moving this around everywhere or setting up the light. Like everybody has their job and is respected and they're there for a reason.
Yeah.
And then you're like, dude, we get these models now. And it's like, and of course, like, they get weeded out. And just like in any job, like if you get that promotion and they're like, oh, dude, we promoted the wrong person. Like, hey man, sorry, we gotta put you back down. Like you're just you can't hack it.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
Like, know your lane, stay in it.
Part of the industry.
Or practice, figure out what you gotta do and get better at it.
Yeah.
And they're like, dude, yeah, we had this person the other day and it was like maybe 2-3 shots out of 10. And it sounds weird coming from someone who doesn't know the industry, but it's like all that counts.
Yeah. Well, it's fascinating listening to you, dude, because I've never the entire extent of my experience with male modeling is Zoolander.
Great movie. Great movie. I love that movie.
But for real, like I know nothing, but it's fascinating to hear you talk about it because it sounds just like any other job. It's teamwork. You got to be professional. Got to show up, know what you're doing. You got to be able to perform. There's so the 7 out of 10, the 2 out of 10 you're talking about is an actual quantitative stat you can keep up with and you can show. I mean, so different photographers or I don't know who's the manager of the whole thing, who's running the whole thing. Like, is there one guy that's directing the cameraman that's directing the model?
Well, okay, so you have, the client will show up, just say that they're the client representing that clothing brand. And you'll have the art director and you have them, and they will set out this whole idea for this shoot that they want.
Okay.
And you'll see like a mood board, like, kind of like a blueprint.
Okay.
And they could be, maybe one of the shots is a view from something else. Mm-hmm. Or, it's this backdrop, or maybe it's a shot of a different model doing something somewhere, but that's the inspiration for that shot.
Okay.
And it's to build this whole story around it.
Yeah.
And that's what they do. So when you're on set, it's like you got the art director, the photographer, the client, everybody, getting involved to get that shot. Okay, we wanted this, but in our situation, it's not going to work exactly like that because maybe, X factor, B factor, C factor, all these things. But they're all trying to figure out to get it the way that they have envisioned it. Yeah. Or as close to it, based on that inspiration. Oh, perfect. Shoot it. Snap, 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 click, 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 click. Boom. Awesome. Nailed it. Next look. Do it. Mm. So, it's always a team effort. Yeah. Because if you're trying to get your word across here and you just don't know how to get your idea across, you're just wasting time. Yeah. So the best shoots I've ever been on have always everything, like some of the most beautiful photos I've ever been a part of, it happens so quick because it's just flowing. And it's usually with people that have worked together and they're just know exactly what they want. They know how to get it across. All right. Yeah. Done. Got it. You're like, really? All right, cool. Word. Let's do it.
What is it about that? So you hear that from musicians? My big hit song took me 15 minutes to write.
Yeah, it just came to me.
And it's easy when these professionals do whatever they're doing and this and that, but the greatest stuff they put out or their best work was it's easy. So it's almost like it's an accumulation of a lifetime of work, right? And then it comes at one point and then boom. I was listening to Cody Jinks the other day talk about Thunder Heavy Rain. Hey, I don't know. You familiar with Cody Jinks?
No.
He's a Texas country guy. Big
Newer?
one. Yeah, he's been around for like 2 years, 3 years.
Okay, yeah. See, man, I feel almost like I almost feel embarrassed because I feel like I should, but man, I grew up in like, the Pat Green days.
Yeah.
That's when I was like knew every country.
Yeah. So, dude, they're still
Texas
all
country.
great. They're still that's the beautiful. I've never gotten sick of listening to Texas country songs, no matter when they're from. Right.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, Cody Jinks is good, dude. You should listen. We'll listen to
Honey
him.
Brown and
Yes. Honey Brown's going back a little bit.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Like that's when I knew Texas country, and then
Texas
now,
Angel, Sonny Brown.
Yeah.
Good too.
And now I'm just, dude, I don't hardly know anybody that's new, whether they're mainstream or local.
So what do you listen to?
All right. Well, I like a lot of everything.
Okay.
But my favorite is rock and metal.
Okay. So give me some folks. Who you digging these days?
I'm a huge and will always be a huge Van Halen, which is, not quite metal, but love Van Halen, grew up with it, my uncles. But Maiden, Metallica, Judas Priest, smaller bands like Iced Earth, Hammerfall.
Give it to them.
Because I love the stories. Like you get into like some of these bands, and it's like the whole album's like a story.
Yeah.
And it just sounds like something like from the Viking days.
Okay.
Like we're going to war.
Yeah.
It's just it has such a cool story like through the whole album.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
We don't have a lot of that anymore. The whole album genre of music.
Yeah, like the whole thing has like this theme.
Yeah.
You still get that with some,
It's rare. iTunes, dude. iTunes ruined it. It's a download one song kind of world these days,
Yeah, and I'm a fault at that, but I remember the days of downloading music, and then, I remember at one point in New York, I bought a couple of, burned DVDs that were like, off the street. And I was like, dude, what am I doing, man? I was like, this is terrible. I was like, how would I feel if somebody was ripping off my work? Yeah. And I was like, that's it, dude. I was like, I'm never doing that again.
Yeah.
And I buy everything.
Exactly.
For I don't even know how long now.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, nope, I'm going to buy it. I'm going to support them. They've worked. I was like, I have no idea how hard they worked or how much time they put into producing, even if it's that one song. I'm going to pay that 99 cents for it, or that $1.29 for it. So
here's one thing that I've figured out over probably the last 3 or 4 years is that your dollar goes a long way. You as a consumer, what you buy, what you purchase, if you don't like something, don't pay for it. But the things you do like, make sure you do pay for it and overpay for it, right? Yeah. Every time I go to one of these Texas country guys shows or whatever, I take the wife to the booth, whatever, we get a hat, we get a shirt, we buy a CD.
Oh, yeah, man, that is so clutch for them.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, wherever we're going, if we like the guys, and if I tell her, I was like, I want to support them, so I'm going to buy their album. Let's go get a shirt. My wife's got a closet full of shirts at all the concerts and stuff we've been at. If we got the girls with us, line it all up. Here's $100. Thanks, man. Thanks for the show.
100%. I totally agree.
So, it's not just that. It's everything. You're getting down to the TV world's changing with Netflix right over the last 5 years, right?
Oh, yeah.
How many people no longer have any cable or DirecTV or anything like that? When was the
last time you bought a DVD?
Exactly.
Dude, I haven't bought an actual DVD since I could start buying it on iTunes.
Yeah.
And, or Amazon, whatever it is that your thing is, but, I have the iPad, the computer, the Apple TV, whatever. So I just buy it one spot so I know it's all...
You got it on there.
It's all in one thing, and I'm like, where's that movie at? Oh, it's on my
cloud.
Amazon or whatever. It's like, I buy enough from Amazon.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need to buy your movies, too. It's like, I got boxes showing up. I'm like, I don't even know what it is.
Yeah.
Because it's like just another order. It's another order. And I'm like, well, what is it this time? I'm like, I don't even know. Just open the box.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see what came. Like, I remember when you ordered something and it showed up. Oh, it's here. I know exactly what it is. Now it's like, it's something that we ordered.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Most of the time, well, at least me, when I get on Amazon and order something, it's 3 or 4 or 5 things. And
I don't think I've ever ordered just one thing.
Exactly. So they don't always come from the same spot, so you're getting 3 or 4 packages. So the wife's like, "What is this?" And I'm like, "Well, it could be this, or maybe this. I don't know. We'll open up and find out."
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, that came quicker than I thought.
Dude, for the the crawfish bowl that we just had this last weekend, I bought all my seasoning. I bought last year. I bought a ton of shit because it was my first time doing it. But seasoning, my little scrapers, the baskets that I clean them in, and all that stuff. I bought them all off Amazon. You needed pH strips.
Okay.
And some bleach and some hair nets and this and that, a bunch of crap that you needed to serve the public, right?
And you're like, I don't even know where to go get all that, so I'm just gonna
Amazon.
order it. Yep.
Dude, ordered it all. It was like, well, with the seasoning and all, it was like $200 or whatever. But fucking love it, so good. But I can't tell you the last time I've been to Walmart because I don't like Walmart. I don't. So we have Kroger right down the street. We got HEB.
That's a good Kroger too.
That's a damn good Kroger. We got HEB when I need to get some Texas in my life, and what else?
What I love is like there's so many good HEBs.
Yes,
there's like 3 of them that I can drive through because one might carry something that the other one doesn't.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey babe, we're going to the 96 location today.
Yeah, that's this HEB right here on 646 has good meat, man. They have like real good meat selection. So I'll go there and I make my own
96 or
646.
There's another one?
Yeah, on 646 and 45.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
dude,
yeah. Right. Yeah. Never mind.
I was like, it's been there for like 15 years.
Yeah, never mind. I know which one you're talking about. I was like, wait, but you know why? Because there's one right down the road from us at 528, 518.
In Friendswood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's they're been remodeling it, but man, we just down the road.
Yeah.
I'm there in 5 minutes, in and out, boom, back.
So the subdivision life is taking a toll, but it's nice when the Kroger or the HEB or the whatever is it's all right here in a 10 minute drive. You're there and you come back.
Definitely.
Whereas where I grew up in Santa Fe,
it's so much different than when I'm in New York City because like I have it's like I'm back and forth between here and New York still, and still got my place, and it's so much different than it's like, all right, I got to drive here and it's, 15 minutes away. But there's a place when I'm in New York, I'm like, I'll just walk down the street.
Yeah.
It's such a weird, different
contrast.
Yeah. It's like going from AM to FM radio. It's like when I'm down here, it's like, AM radio, sure. How you doing today? And then, up there, it's like FM, it's like you got to find the powerhouse station. You're like, all right, let's go.
Yeah.
Like it's a totally different way of living. And so it's like, I have to learn how to switch over when I'm there.
Did you live in New York?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. 11 years.
11 years.
11 years straight in New York City, and now I'm back and forth.
Wow.
So I, split time, and then now I feel like I'm in airports more than anywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, especially from January up until now, like it's actually been kind of nice. Like I've had the last few days where I've just been like chilling here, which is, if I've got more than 3 days off, I'm like, oh man, or more than 3 days unemployed, should I say? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh man, this is kind of nice.
Yeah.
Because man, I've had jobs where it's like, all right, I'm going here, and then I'm going here, and then I'm going here, and then, okay, those are all 3 right now. I've got different weather. Okay, all right, let me see how I'm going to pack this. All right, where am I going first? Okay, all right.
Yeah.
And then you're like, all right, whatever. 1 pair of jeans, workout clothes, a couple black t-shirts, 1 pair of shoes. I'm like, whatever, forget it. Just keep it simple.
Yeah.
How many days? Okay, 3 days underwear. Throw 6 days underwear in there. Okay, all right, I'm good.
You got it covered. You got it covered.
Oh, it just, hey, a t-shirt, I can, a black t-shirt, I can rock 2 black t-shirts at work for nearly a week. People are like, that's kind of grimy. And I'm like, I wear my shirt for breakfast in the morning. I'm wearing their clothes up until lunch. And then I've got it on for like 30 minutes to an hour. Or it may be a working lunch. So I may not even put my own clothes on. And then I put my clothes on at the end of the day. And I wear it back to the hotel.
Yeah.
So I've got my shirt on for 2.5 hours, maybe a day. I'm like, yeah, I can definitely stretch this on 3 days. I'm like, I think it'll be fun.
How old were you?
No logo, so no one can tell if it's the same black T-shirt. or not.
Good
like
call.
just plain tee. I'm like,
Yeah, that's a man of experience talking right there. How old were you when you moved to New York?
man, let's see. So when I first started, I was 20. I actually lived in California. So I was living there for a year, but the last like 6 months, I had been going back and forth between there and New York.
Okay.
And wherever I needed to go. And then in February of 2006 is when I moved to Bed-Stuy in New York with a buddy. And I still had an apartment with Meredith in New York because we were sharing a one bedroom. I was like, I'll just sleep on the couch. I was like, I don't know how often I'm really going to be here, and I don't know how much I can afford.
Yeah.
So she's like, okay, that's fine. We'll just get a one bedroom. And then I used the hallway closet and slept on the couch. And I just take the ottoman, man, and get diagonal on that thing. It was awesome. Open up the window, cool California air. I was like, dude, this is gravy.
Oh yeah.
This is awesome.
Living the dream.
Yeah. And then we moved to Bed-Stuy in 2006 in New York. And then I lived there for about a year and a half. And then lived in Hell's Kitchen for 3 years. And then Alphabet City is where I still have a place for the last eight years.
What did mom and dad think about all this? So it was mom's idea originally, right?
Yeah.
Well, at least open the door.
Yeah. No, she's just been full support the whole way, man.
Yeah.
She's like the coal in the train. She's like, no, more coal. Come on, get your ass in there. Let's go. She's like, I'm like, all right, you got it, lady.
Yeah, that's
and
awesome.
Then, and then she's, she's still there, but now she's just running it with, basically Aaron. Aaron's like, okay, all right, I'm going to miss you, but get out there.
Yeah, go
your
make
thing.
Go make that money.
Yep, go make that money. We need bread and milk.
That's it.
And then I'm out of town, and she's done with school. She's been working, and then she's trying to open up her own practice right now too, which I'm super proud of her. She's been working hard at it, trying to the name, the logo, trying to find a spot to lease out.
And she's opening up
chiropractic office. Yeah,
cool.
I really like the way that she's. Once you get this open, maybe you can have her on here.
Yeah. Love to, man.
Yeah, but just because the way that she views it is really awesome. And I have a lot of respect for the way that her, I don't know if I would say her philosophy, or I don't know if that's the right word for how she wants to implement her practice into people's lives.
Her vision.
Yeah. Instead of just like, come to me,
let me fix
I'm gonna fix you up, or whatever. And she's like, look, if you're not taking care of yourself away from here, you're gonna be here all the time.
Yeah.
And she's like, you don't need to be in here every day. She's like, you come to me to help with this issue so we can get you better, not to just, like, oh, you're sick, here, take this. But you're not doing anything to prevent yourself from getting that prescription again.
Yeah.
She's like, she wants to promote, like, have a healthy lifestyle all around.
Yes.
So when you come to me, instead of like when you first came, it's like, oh, I feel great, but it's only for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then you got to go back for your fix.
Yeah.
Like not like fix, like oh, I got to get my fix.
Yeah.
It's like, you're coming to me because it's an issue and we're going to work it out and we're going to get you better.
Yeah.
And I love that. But she's like, no, I'm like in your circle.
Yeah.
Instead of just like your one stop.
That's cool, man.
And I was like, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's cool. It's I don't know, maybe I've just started paying attention to it more, but it seems like the last couple of years there's been a big focus on healthy lifestyle, fitness, people getting better.
Especially the last 10 years, I've seen it grown tremendously.
Exactly. And this is the podcast I did with Dom last week is we're going to do podcasts and kind of document my weight loss journey or whatever to get back into fighting and get down to weight and start getting in the cage and actually start and doing some things. But I'm going to have him on every 3 weeks, and he's going to tell everybody how I'm doing, what we're doing next, and we're just going to kind of document the whole thing. So it's really exciting for me because like I told him last week, it's the first time in my life I've ever been really excited or in tuned or knowledgeable about fitness or becoming knowledgeable, right?
Just about health in general.
Exactly. So And like I said, I don't know if it's just me that it's been kind of a eye-opening thing for me, especially like the last 3 years, but it seems like more people are aware.
I think people are just starting to understand how simple it is to be healthy.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, people are like, oh, but health food's so expensive. And I'm like, is it really?
Yeah, produce is not.
And I'm like, is it expensive now or expensive later in life? And I'm like, you can spend the extra $1.
Yeah.
You can spend the extra couple of cents because you're going to eat, say like, oh, I spent $8 on all this stuff. But I'm like, but what are you getting from it?
Yeah.
I'm like, are you actually getting the value of what you bought? No, you're basically throwing it in the trash, 90% of that.
Yeah.
Like, spend the extra few dollars and get the investment on the food. Get the return on it.
Yeah.
Get a higher percentage of the return off of your food.
Yeah.
You'll notice that you don't need as much of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So in the long run, you might actually spend a lot less.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Produce is not expensive. If you're going and you buy leafy greens and some sweet potatoes and a couple of things of chicken, you can make yourself lunch for the week for like $12.
Yeah, it's great because it's
You know
like,
what I mean?
you're not like, oh, I'm going to eat this whole chicken right now. Or it's like, oh, I'm going to go to, such and such place and, my meal's only $8. But I'm like, yeah, but it's such crap.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, your body's going to absorb such a small fraction of that.
Yeah.
And then it's just going to be fighting the rest of it. And then you're going to wonder why you feel like crap. People are like, oh, but I feel good. And I'm like, it's kind of like if you've only driven a car that is just beat to crap. And then you get in a slightly nicer car and you're like, whoa, this drives so nice.
Yeah.
And then you get in a super nice car and you're like, wow, this car runs so well. Wow, I have never been anything that runs so smooth.
Yeah.
And that's how diet works.
I've never been in a
You
super
can't
car.
put crappy gas into a Formula One car.
Yeah.
It needs
That's a good analogy.
a very specific type of fuel to run at that level.
Yeah.
And if it's fed anything else, it's going to run like shit.
So so fitness is like your life, right? You got to look good.
Yeah,
This-
going to the gym is actually me going to work.
It's a write-off for your taxes.
It's like some guys don't have to. It's just not their thing.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, it's one of the aspects of my own personal business and modeling that, yeah, I have to stay in shape. So
Yeah.
for me, I'm like, babe, I'm going to work. Like, man, I need to work out. Like, I got to go, I got to stay looking fit,
Yeah. So was it something, when did you have to start really putting time in the gym to try and get that way? I'm sure when you're 19 years old, you're just a natural athletic guy, right? You played sports growing up.
Yeah, played baseball,
you're
football.
laying concrete. You had your muscles glistening in the Texas heat. All the old ladies watching as the
Well, what's funny is I was actually kind of my body actually changed when I was in my early 20s.
Okay.
It was kind of weird. I was this really rail thin dude. Didn't have like a big frame or anything. And then I started working out. And then one day in my 20s, it was like my bones decided to my whole frame just decided to change. And I was like, what the shit is going on? I'm like, not even purposely. I just all of a sudden had a hard time putting on weight, like muscle weight. And then the next thing I knew, I was like, dude, I'm putting on muscle weight way too easy.
Yeah.
And it was, people were like, oh, that's what happens when you get older. I'm like, no, man, it's not about that. I'm not putting on fat. I'm like, I can just put on muscle weight super easy. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, I need to change the way I'm training and the way I'm eating.
Yeah.
Which sound, it's kind of like an athlete. Like, it's like if you're a wide receiver, you can't just go get super bulky and lose a bunch of speed, or if you're, a 400-yard or a 400-meter track runner, you can't go get built up like a 100-meter dash guy.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit. I was like, yeah. All right, time to change it up.
Yeah.
No more super heavy weight. And I can eat. I love food. So I was like, okay, all right, this sucks. Now I got to start watching how much food I'm eating.
Yeah.
And definitely got to bump up the cardio, which is not a bad thing. I love cardio. And then bike racing really helped.
Yeah.
I shed some weight doing that.
I can imagine. That's almost seems like a perfect thing to do for a model. Somebody trying to stay fit and lean and get those. I mean, because you're going to gain muscle doing all that as well, right? You're still pushing yourself.
Yeah. It just helped me apply more energy somewhere else to keep me from eating. I was like, well, if I go ride for 2 hours, I can't be stuffing my face.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, they make these delicious peanut butter Lara bars? Wonder how many of those I can eat on a ride.
Oh, so what was the biggest change going from Houston, Texas to LA and New York?
You know, I actually adapted pretty well. I think it's just because I'm a fly by the seat of my pants kind of guy.
Okay.
Sometimes I'm like, cool, yeah, all right, whatever.
Go with it.
Let's do it, whatever. Yeah. You know, trying to learn business was definitely, you know, something. It took me a little longer than I probably should have to learn certain things. I learned from some close friends who are a little bit older than me that, you know, have had their own businesses and, you know, along the lines like, yeah, man, hey, dude, you need to think about this, maybe approach it this way, look at it like, you know, this way, the third, you know, don't look at it so close. Look at it like a third person viewing in. I can see the whole baseball field from the top. Yeah, it's a great view behind home plate, but I can't see every little thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to go up to the nosebleeds and get a full field of view. And I was like, oh, all right. I was like, that's pretty smart. All right, cool.
Yeah.
You know, you got to be up close and far. You know, it's like you got to be the breacher at the door, ready to barge in, and you got to be the sniper, you know, 500 yards back. You know, it's like you got to have all the views locked down.
Yeah, that's a pretty solid business practice, right? You got to know all the angles before you make an intelligent decision.
Yeah, and you know, and then there's sometimes where you're just like, shit, like, all right, let's just see the way this goes, and that's one of the things with my business is where there's always that, you know, you may have. You know, sometimes you have jobs that are overlapping and you're like, okay, well, which one do I choose? Or you may get an offer from somebody and you have to say no. And it's hard to say no to money sometimes. Mm-hmm. And not like a moral thing. It's just like, yeah, but I got to say no to this client. And not because I don't want the money, just because, you know, a lot of different factors could be involved. Like, how much are they going to advertisement versus how much they're paying and where you're at. You know, Jeter's not going to go play for somebody for $1,000 a year. You know, like, hey, Jeter, we'd love to play for you, but we can only pay you like 1/10 of what you're making. It's all right, guys.
Yeah.
You know, no, that's okay. I'll just retire.
Yeah.
You know, it's like Favre. He was like, I'm retired. Hey, you want to pay me how much to come back?
Yeah, I think I got a little bit left in me.
I got a little left in me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, like, and that's what I mean is like, it's, you play with that because sometimes you'll say no to a job and then you're like, damn, man, like, should I have passed that up? And sometimes it works out for the better. Sometimes you have two clients, you know, at the same time and you choose one over the other. And then, you know, in the long run, you're like, damn, maybe I should have went the other, maybe I should have chose the other client this time or whatever. Yeah. So you're always playing this like balance game of like trying to stay up here and saying yes and no and knowing when to say yes and no. Yeah. And then there's always the opposite. Oh, God, I really hope I get this job. And then, man, that'd be so awesome to work with this company. Hey, Parker, they released you. They're not going to use you. Damn. That would have been awesome.
Yeah.
You know, it's always this roller coaster. But roller coasters are fun. Too bad we still don't have Six Flags.
Hey, there's supposed to be one up by Buc-ee's. Not a Six Flags, but a amusement park.
Well, I'm sure Buc-ee's can build a pretty awesome one. I love Buc-ee's.
Well, I don't know if it's going to be yeah, exactly. I don't know if it's going to be a Buc-ee's amusement park, but it's going to be next to Buc-ee's. And that'd be badass, though. And the next step into Buc-ee's is just start building badass theme parks. Buc-ee's can do it. I believe it.
But yeah. I can see in 10 years, Buc-ee's like, Buc-ee's theme park.
Yeah.
Dude, that's going to be the cleanest theme park in the nation.
10 years from now, they're going to have Buc-ee's space rides. They'll buy SpaceX from Elon Musk and be sending people off.
Stop off, you know, like, hey, you're on your way to the moon. Right, we're stopping at Buc-ee's. Like,
Buy your nuggets before you get in the space.
Dude, they're gonna have an international space station, dude. It's like we have 200 fuel stops.
Yeah.
And it's an international space station.
Yeah.
Like, look at all this.
There's 300 different styles of beef jerky.
Yeah.
Good luck picking.
Yeah, exactly.
Was there ever a time where you wanted to call it quits? You said,
You know, when I was in that time where, when I was in my mid-20s, I was like, damn, man. I was like, you start thinking, like, it plays in your head.
Yeah.
Because it's a very, almost in a way, it's almost a self-serving industry. In a way where it's like on our side, you're like, well, I'm a model. Like, I should, and I've seen it happen to a lot of people. Like, what am I not good to other people? Like, am I not good looking enough? Like, well, what's wrong with me? Like, why am I not working?
Yeah.
And, and it's sad because you're in a business where it's driven off you're picked off your look from a piece of, like, a photo where sometimes clients have never met you. And sometimes the only way that you work with that client again is if you get that job and they're like, man, we really like working with that guy. He does his job really well and we like having him around.
Yeah.
And so it's like when you go through these droughts sometimes, you can be like, second guess yourself and you're like, well, what am I second guessing myself on? It's like, maybe it's just the end of the road. Maybe that was my time. Maybe time's up. So I just worked my ass off in New York thinking, I was like, it's going to come around. I was like, and I saw some light and I was like, well, I'm going to take this chance and make a bunch of changes. And if it works out, it works out. And I had some people in my corner push me in that direction. They're like, dude, just do it. And I was like, if it doesn't work out, whatever.
Yeah.
Just go back to Texas and figure out what I'm going to do. And I'm like, and if I think about it, I'm like, that's fine. It's not going to be all that bad.
Yeah. So was the plan always to come back to Texas?
Well, yeah, I mean, I love this place.
I do too.
I'm like, one day it will come to an end. Whether it's because I decided it or maybe the industry decides it or hell, maybe I'm just lucky and I do this until I just die of old age. Who knows?
That's a strange thing. That's a strange industry. Like the only other thing I can think of is like athletes that kind of know like I'm going to ride this ride until they tell me I can't anymore or I decide it's enough.
Yeah. Or
like but there's an end coming and you're still.
But you don't know when.
Exactly. But you're still also a young man at that point, right? Or, potentially. So, yeah, that's a strange thing.
Yeah, it makes it a little scary sometimes because you're like, it could literally be 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 2 months from now.
Yeah.
And that's the scary part. You're like, all right, well, whatever, dude. I'm just going to ride it and enjoy it and, just remember how fortunate I am while I am doing it.
Yeah.
And
dude, that's a great attitude to have, man.
And even when it's over, just be like, I did something not a lot of people get to do for a really long time at a really high level.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. And even if it ended, after this conversation, I can look back and be like, man, I went to some pretty cool places. I did some cool shit.
I know. We haven't even got into your world travels, man.
Oh, man.
I know. So you said southern Argentina, and yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I've been around the world, man. The only places that I haven't been that I want to go are like Australia, New Zealand, Japan, and Alaska.
Yeah.
Like I've been almost everywhere else. And I'd like to go to Russia. I almost went, and it didn't happen.
So where's the coolest spot?
Here.
Texas. That a boy.
Like, and that's not a joke. Like, it's like, like one of my best friends, like he's a native New Yorker, man. He loves that place.
Yeah.
And I love that. He loves his home.
Yeah.
It's like one of my other buddies is from Philly. He's like, love Philly, dude. It's my favorite place. He's like, he has like, dude, that's my favorite place, to go to.
Yeah.
But his favorite place in the whole world is Philly. And I love that. And I'm like, I love going to all these other places in the world and, seeing the cultures and understanding culture and being exposed to it.
Yes.
But knowing that I can always go to Texas.
Yeah.
That's just where I'm from. It's just, and other people, they may be from someplace and maybe they don't want to understand it because they just don't have that attachment to their home state, or their hometown.
Yeah.
But I hope wherever they are, they have found that attachment. Like, oh, dude, I love this place. I'm never leaving. And I hope they grow old there and have a good time.
Yeah.
This is my spot. Like,
love it.
Even though I'm traveling around, I'm back and forth between New York and Texas. Like, I love Texas, man. And I love New York City. There's a lot about New York City that I absolutely love. I just love Texas more.
So where's your favorite spots to go in Texas? Where are you going for the weekend trip with the wife?
We're trying to figure out the summer for the river trips. Last year, I went with her to the River Revival. A friend of hers put it on. You know it?
Yeah.
And it was a good time, man. Like, it's the end of summer, so hitting the river. We still got to hit the river a little bit. It was a little low, but man, it was still a great time.
Yeah.
And it was the first time I had been back to the river in a long time. So I was
hog heaven.
Yeah, I was like, dude, this is great. And this year I was like, babe, we got to go more than once.
Yes.
I was like, I don't care if it's like we got 3 days while I'm in town. We got to go. She's like, no, I'm down. She's like, we already have, she's like, we already have what is it, Mother's Day weekend or whatever. They're doing a whole thing. Oh, because Dwight Yoakam is playing down there.
Hey, now.
And I'm a big Dwight Yoakam fan. I got a picture.
Dude, I'm liking you more and more.
When I'm a kid, my first concert ever was Dwight Yoakam and Buck Owens.
Oh, nice.
And this is actually a really cool story. I wish my mom could tell it because, she was like, she got all her money. She got us good seats, and it was me, her, and my aunt, and we went. And I'm like a little spitting image of this concert of Dwight. I've got my own natural worn-in knees with my jeans, my denim jacket on. It's all the old white faded denim. My boots, my hat, jacket, everything. And the actor David Keith?
Oh, I don't know.
He's been in a ton of stuff.
If I see his face, I probably know. Let me look him up.
Yeah, look him up. Look him up.
Jamie
what is it? Hunt for Red October. I think, was he in Behind Enemy Lines? He's in Major League 2 with Charlie Sheen. He's the catcher that gets traded to the White Sox.
Yeah, I know you're talking about.
And then I think he was in, what's the one with Richard Gere? Is he in that? Or they're the naval guys?
Is it Keith David? Or David Keith?
David Keith.
David Keith. Well, is it there? That's not him,
No,
right?
that's Keith David. Yeah, swap that. Yeah,
well,
David.
I got it right up here, but it came up like that. IMDb. I know who you're talking about, though, as far as he was in Platoon. The catcher from Major League.
Yeah, here, put in Major League 2 IMDb. We'll pull him up. But
anyway,
he comes up to my mom and he's like, man, that kid is awesome. He's like, he's a big. She goes, he knows every Dwight song. And meanwhile, I think I'm like 2 or 3 years old. Mm-hmm. Maybe 3 or 4, somewhere in there, where it's like, I got just enough where I can sing songs, with my.
There he is.
That's him, man.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And he brings me after the concert back to his trailer.
Really?
And I get a photo with Dwight and Buck Owens.
Hell yeah.
Still got him.
Hell yeah.
And I was like, man, after that kind of concert, it's like, it's all downhill from here.
No joke.
Like, it's like, where do you go? Do you ever go to another concert? And then I've seen Dwight a few times in my life, actually.
Well, me and the wife saw him at the Houston Arena Theater like 2 years ago, maybe a year ago. He was here, played. We went, same thing, got good seats. She's a big Dwight Yoakam fan. I am as well.
That voice, man,
dude. He's a great actor.
Dude. Yes, he is so good in Crank.
Yeah,
as a doctor,
it's crazy. In Wedding Crashers. He's the guy at the beginning. He's shut your mouth when you're talking to me.
Yeah, and then he's also what is it? Safe Room.
Ooh. Was he in Safe Room?
Panic Room.
Panic Room. Yep.
Yeah, dude, he's such a
Sling Blade.
Yeah.
Great, man.
Yeah, and he's been in all these movies where he plays these like key roles, and you're just like, "Hey, that's Dwight."
Yeah, no, you have to like take a second. You're like, wait a minute.
Yeah. And he's such a good entertainer.
Yeah, he is.
I mean, damn.
He played Merle Haggard when we went and saw him because Merle Haggard had just passed away, and he played Mama Cried and a couple other tunes or whatever. And he's like, Merle Haggard was a big influence on me, and this is for him, and he freaking rocked it. I was like, dude, I went and saw him in Lubbock. Oh hell yeah!
Like,
what the hell are you doing in Lubbock?
High school girlfriend was there. Like, we just graduated. She was going to Texas Tech, and then I was like, you know, Dwight Yoakam's gonna be in Lubbock, right?
Yeah, I have to go check that. So you're getting in my wife's country now. She's from up near Amarillo. All her family and friends and all that stuff, they all go to Lubbock over there. They're all Texas Tech. So my sister-in-law and brother-in-law, all of them graduated from Lubbock and all that. So yeah, we're all about that. But so besides the river, where do y'all like to go? Or where do you like to go? I should say.
Let's see. We're a big fan of Perry's. The Perry's pork chop, man.
Who isn't?
Yeah, man. I'll tell you, I could eat that.
Have you been to the one in Austin? The Perry's in Austin. It's on like 5th Street, I think.
No.
It's not on 6th Street, but like 5th Street. It's super nice. It's real nice.
We like going to Austin. We usually try to stay right at South Congress, like South Congress Hotel or whatever, for like a little getaway.
Yeah,
I got some friends up in Austin as well. Her dad's side of the family is all from Louisiana.
Okay.
So we do trips out there, like different family events or holidays and stuff like that. So we've done quite a bit in the car.
Yeah.
Which is always good if you can road trip with somebody. I guess if you come from a place where you don't do much road tripping or whatever, you may not understand it, but
well, road trip's a necessity in Texas.
Yeah, have to. Yeah, I mean, road trip could be like literally, hey, we got to get to the other side of Houston.
Yeah. Pack a lunch and a lantern just in case.
Yeah, hey, mate, you got water? Hey, you got some snacks? Yeah. All right, cool. Because we're going to Katy, and it's going to be in traffic hour, so we're going to be on the road for like 2 hours.
Yeah, get the kids' iPad
use
out.
The bathroom now.
Yeah, make sure the iPad's charged. Give it to the kids.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, road trips are a necessity. So since I discovered podcasts, my wife hates road trips now so we drive to Amarillo.
Okay, yeah.
And it's a 10-hour drive. Yeah, and I can knock out 2 or 3 Joe Rogans or a couple of hardcore histories.
Oh yeah,
and the road, and it's perfect for me because I'm like, we're 10 hours deep. I ain't got nothing to do.
Oh, it's great because it's like mini road trips. Like, man, I'll give it to that girl. She can pass out in a car quick. She's like, "Hey, baby," I'm like, "Yes, you can take a nap." She's okay.
Gone.
I'm like, "Man, I didn't even say okay." She's out. But that's kind of the thing. Like when we're in the car, boom, headphones. Like I have like those AirPods, the new Apple AirPods. I put the one in, and I just put it in my right ear, and boom, book on tape or podcast, dude.
That's it.
I'm going, dude. I got coffee. Right in my Yeti, and boom.
It literally didn't change my life, but it changed definitely road trips, right? I mean, before it was just put on Pandora and go or whatever, or CDs.
We definitely get into the music.
Yeah,
I don't get to so much listen to my music when we're in the car.
Yeah, Van Halen rocking.
She's a huge '90s music fan.
There you go.
So she's YouTubing '90s playlist, Pandora, '90s music, '90s hip hop, '90s R&B, '90s pop, '90s all, like everything. And dude,
that's it.
But I get into it with her too because I'm all about it. But but she's like, "How come you're not a bigger fan of the '90s?" I was like, "I am a fan of the '90s. I'm just a really big fan of the '80s." I'm like, I can't help it. Like, what do you want me to do?
Yeah, that's funny. It's fun. I'm probably a bigger fan of the '70s. Like, I think 75 to 83 ish was like the best time in movies ever.
Oh, for movies?
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say music.
Well, music as well, because I'm a big fan of Skynyrd. I'm a big fan of Fleetwood Mac. I'm a big fan of,
what is it, Danzig, or what's the other one? And then,
You talking about the Fleetwood Mac guys?
Yeah, and then no, just other bands. You got Zeppelin. You got
exactly.
Early Aerosmith and the late.
Yeah,
and then
Pink Floyd.
Yeah, Pink Floyd, and I mean, but there's also a lot of huge '80s bands that started in the late '70s.
That's what I'm saying. Like all that time was just like cultural kind of.
And there was so much change in the music too for rock.
Yes.
And like where from the '60s and '70s too, where you get to find out like where these metal guys pulled from, and you're like, man, that was your inspiration.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
At the same time, the punk was coming out, in New York and stuff like. Did you ever watch the HBO show? Shit, I'm not gonna remember the name.
Was it the one? It was Henry Rollins did one, didn't he?
Not the one I'm thinking of. Vinyl.
Okay.
Did you ever watch that?
No, I've heard of it.
So it's record label company in the late '70s trying to sign the big contracts, whatever. It was. It got canceled after one season. It wasn't terribly great, but it was just kind of a fascinating look into that time and how kind of the music industry worked. I don't know how accurate it is and stuff, but it was kind of the Ramones and, that era, the East Coast.
The Ramones, dude.
Shit like that. So it was pretty cool. But yeah, I like all that, like Jaws, Star Wars, Rocky, Scarface. Superman,
1978,
yes. Dude. Superman,
good stuff.
Apocalypse Now.
Yeah,
I mean, just think about Platoon was right there.
There's a lot of good movies in the '70s.
Like,
you're right.
Like that's
There's
my
a lot of good stuff.
I feel like that was my time. If I could go back, you want to go back to live a time like if I was 18 years old in '74 or something like 75, like that'd have been just perfect.
Me, I would probably be in the '80s, like literally chasing down bands like Maiden, Metallica, like all these guys, like going to Van Halen concerts. Like, dude, we're going to the mountain to ski. Like, just that whole aspect of like just that we're gonna hit the rock concert, we're gonna hit the slopes, like that party mode of not the party.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not my thing, It's like, but not the kind of party. But
that's the other thing about the 70s and 80s. You got to stick away from that stuff.
That's not my thing. I mean, hey, to each their own. They do it up, but it's just never. That shit scares the hell out of me.
No,
that's just me.
So you don't have to get crazy into it, but how rampant was, or not rampant, but how crazy is it in your industry of doing that? Is like, or is that?
I don't know. I've never taken part in it. So, but I mean, dude, you just can't say it in my. I mean, there's.
Well, that's why I say.
There's a guy probably walking down the street in a jacket by who's like sniffing while he's making burp. It's like.
That's why I didn't want to say like your industry, but I'm just thinking like.
No, I'm sure. I'm not even gonna try to be naive about it. People are gonna do what they want to do and party it up and after hours party. Hey, we're going to the after hours party. And me, I'm like, cool. I was at the party for what I needed to be at the party at, and it's late, and I want to go to sleep.
You're going to network, and then
then I'm like, I want to go to sleep. But dude, it's funny. Like I'm a big fan of getting up early. I like getting up early, man. I love the quiet morning, making a fresh pot of coffee. And I don't know how long I've been doing that, man. That's just more my thing. I don't know why. People are like, dude, do you like getting up early? And I'm like, yeah.
You're a special blend, or a special breed, I should say. So the only reason why I even bring it up, or not to bring it up or whatever, but I'm thinking model. You seen the Odell Beckham French model picture, right?
No.
Where he's like pizza and blow and shit in some French Riviera with some French model.
Hey, man, he's having a good time. He's enjoying his life.
Time.
Yeah.
But I was like,
good for him.
As soon as you started saying that, I'm like, wait a minute, she was
good for him, man. Like that's what I say. I was like, hey, to each their own. You got to enjoy your life the way you want to enjoy it.
Yeah, he can do.
Like if you're not deliberately out to hurt someone else.
Go for it.
Just go have fun.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I hope nothing happens bad, and I hope nothing bad happens to you, like in those moments, and everyone makes it home safe. But go do your thing. Like do what you think is right for you at that time. I'm not gonna judge you on it. Like I said, unless you're out deliberately to hurt other people, Go do your thing, man. I'm like, enjoy life.
Yeah.
I'm like, everybody does it different. Everybody's got their own road.
Yeah, you get in trouble when you start trying to tell people what to do. That's where a lot of people don't understand. When you try to
when you try to like force it into other people.
Restrict like, people and tell them, you know.
And you know, that's one thing, like I've, you know, come across a lot of people where they're like, hey Parker, we're gonna go. I'm like, no, man, you guys go ahead. They're like, all right, cool. We'll catch up with you tomorrow.
Yeah.
And, you know, no sweat. And they know that I'm not judging them. Like, you know, I'm like, go do your thing, man. I'll catch up with you tomorrow. Whatever.
Yeah. That's cool. That's cool. What's some of the craziest stuff that's happened, man? I mean, the wild world of modeling. You've been around. I've seen Spain, Portugal, Argentina, you said. I mean, what are these?
Like as far as like fun on jobs, or just like
just crazy wild stories.
Man, well, I mean, we'll keep some of those out.
Okay, we'll talk about those off air.
Yeah. You know, I'm not gonna say I've been a saint my whole life. You know, it's like when I was younger, I definitely got into some situations that, you know, are made for locker room talk, but you know, and then you grow up and you're just like, dude, it's just like, oh my God, you're like. I'm gonna. You gotta. At some point, you're just like, all right, I'm over it. I'm done. It's like, where, you know, how long can you do that? And you know, and I guess for someone in my industry, it's like I didn't even do it for that long. Yeah. You know, I had my time where I did it, and then I was like, dude, I'm done with this. I was like, I'm tired. I was like, I want to go to bed early. I don't want to, you know. And, you know, I'm not going to lie about it and say like, oh no, I was a saint. I didn't do that or whatever. You know, there was times in my life where it was like, I did it and I was a dick at times. And, you know, I look back and I was like, man, I was an asshole sometimes in those situations. But, you know, you live and you learn and you enjoy it. And you look back and you're like, I definitely got some stories, but
yeah, well,
but you're like, you know, you move on and you figure out other things that you want to focus your time and energy on. Well, I'm just like actually sleeping.
Yeah. That's, you know, traveling around as an internationally good-looking person. That's, I mean, yeah, it's got to be a lot of fun that comes with it. Got to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and then, but I've also been on some fun jobs, man. Like I was up in the Yukon. I was like, hey man, how close are we to Alaska? He goes, oh dude, we're like 4-hour drive. I was like, no shit. And it was pretty cool. I got the job because they were like, hey, can you ride a dirt bike and a snowmobile? And I was like, yeah. I mean, I'm not like a motocross, like, you know, grew up on a motocross bike, but it's like, yeah, I can ride, I can do a donut, whatever. Don't ask me to jump, you know, 100 feet. Yeah. You know, I'm like, that ain't going to happen. You know, don't ask me to do a wheelie, you know, for
a mile,
you know, a mile or anything like that. That ain't going to happen. But they're like, oh no, we just need somebody who can ride the dirt bike on the ice. And I was like, oh, what? I was like, yeah, let's do this. So I show up and they've got a, they've got a badass old like 1980 something snowmobile with a 4-stroke motor in it.
Okay.
Or was it a 2-stroke or a 4-stroke?
Two-stroke most likely.
It was stripped out for
80s.
racing, and I can't remember if the guy said it was I think it was a 4-stroke. Dude, it was twitchy, bro.
It's 2-stroke.
And it had a high stall on it.
Yeah.
So it was like, you know.
Yeah.
And it was all studded out in the back because they smoothed up, because we were shooting on a frozen lake in between two mountains. And I was like, damn, this thing is big. He's like, yeah, man, it's 8 miles that way and 2 miles that way, and it's 2 miles across. And I was like, dude, this is awesome. So they had a tractor out there, and they smoothed off the snow off the top of it and smoothed it out for like a mile. Yeah. So we could shoot, and so they could shoot behind from one of the snowmobiles while we're riding. And the photographer, dude, he was like, all right, hey, Parker, hit it. Okay. Dude, no gear on, just clothing and some goggles. Yeah. No helmet, no pads, nothing. Dude, I get down low behind this thing and I crank it. And next thing you know, I'm doing like 75 across the ice. And I slowed down. I was like, dude, this thing is awesome. And that's only because I was like, all right, I'm not going to go any faster. I don't know this snowmobile, and I've never gone this fast on a snowmobile. Yeah. And I turned around there like, okay, please don't go that fast. Like our insurance only covers so much.
Well, not only that, they're like, we have to be able to shoot
like,
you.
hey, we have the rest of the day to shoot. And I'm like, dude, I'm sorry. It was super fun. And then they gave me a dirt bike that was had studs in the tires. And they're like, hey, can you just do donuts? And I've never done donuts on the ice. And man, you start spinning around so fast. It's not like dirt where you're like, wee.
Yeah.
Dude, I was like a tether ball, and someone just smacked it like a Napoleon Dynamite, and it's just going. Dude, I got so dizzy, I kept tipping over the bike because I just kept spinning.
Yeah.
Like just doing donuts. And then, of course, the one time out of I don't know how many takes that we did, I throw my face up at the camera and stick out my tongue like, yeah. That's the shot they picked.
Hell yeah.
And I was like, there had to be like 3 frames of that shot. And that's the one they used. I was like, awesome. I was like, that's so badass.
That is badass.
Yeah. And then we stayed out there all night because the sun was, once again, it was, they only had like 6 hours of darkness at that time.
Yeah.
When we were there, and the production team was like, hey man, if y'all want to ride some snowmobiles up through the mountains on the side and on the lake at night, go for it. He goes, just be careful where you're going because there's a lot of bears and everything around here. So, dude, we were out riding till like 2, 3 in the morning, just whipping around on these things.
That's
I didn't go to sleep that night.
That's badass.
They picked me up in the morning. They were like, we'll just take you to the airport straight from here. I was like, all right, cool. So literally the hotel was on the way. I picked it up.
Yep.
Like I took a shower, picked up my luggage, and went to the airport. I was like, this is awesome.
That's badass.
Yeah, that's one of those jobs you're like, okay, that was an adventure.
Yeah. That's cool, man. I mean, yeah. Who has stories like that where they get to do
Yeah,
do
and,
shit like
and
that,
it's like there's other jobs. Like, thank God we were wearing warm clothes. Because one of the, the one thing that sucks, people are like, oh man, do you ever have to shoot like, winter jackets and stuff in the summer? And I'm like, yeah, no problem, dude. I don't mind those days at all.
Yeah.
I was like, because you sweat, you do this for like, hours. You feel like you got out of a sauna all day.
Yeah.
The days that suck are the days where they're like, hey, throw this on. And it's for like 80, 90 degree weather. And it's, 25 outside, 30. Everybody's in like,
Parkas.
down layers, Gore-Tex, Canada Goose, moose knuckle jackets. And you're in stuff to work out in at the gym.
Yeah.
And you're like that all day. You're like, dude, I can't wait till lunch. Like, I can't wait till the shop where they wrap a blanket around me or give me my jacket, dude. It's like, I just got done with a job not too long ago where, dude, my hands were so numb for 2 days that the next day, even on the plane, my knuckles still hurt for like a day and a half afterwards.
Yeah.
Like my skin was starting to go red, like during the day. And I was like, I don't know if that's just because they're really cold or if that means that...
First degree frostbite.
Yeah. And I'm like, maybe. But it was one of those things where we ended up with some of the most beautiful photos I'd ever been a part of. We were shooting Armani, their EA7 sports line. And dude, we froze our asses off. But the photos are amazing. I was like,
awesome.
all right, one of the things of the job, it's like, freeze my ass off all day. And dude, it was so cold on those 2 days. It was 4 degrees outside. And
Where were you at?
We were in the Alps on the French side of Switzerland. Yeah, so it's like, really, how bad can you feel? Like, oh, so you froze your ass off for 2 days, but you were in the French Alps and...
Armani.
It's like, and we every morning and dinner we had a woman that was at the house cooking for us because we all stayed in this mountain house, like right
cabin
there,
lodge thing.
Yeah, and I was like, I'm like, dude, it sucks all day, but man, like, where else am I gonna?
Yeah.
Do that all day, get these amazing photos, which is part of my job. And try not to look cold, and then get treated like this.
Yeah. How long are you out there when they fly you out to stuff like that? I mean, depending on the shoot, right? But
yeah, there we just shot 2 days.
Okay.
Yeah, just 2 days. I did. They were out there for, I don't know how many days they were all out there, but just the 2 days that I was shooting was 2 days.
full day's worth of travel to get there, full day's travel to
Yeah,
get back.
so like if let's just say I have like 1 day of shooting somewhere in Europe, it's almost like I'm gone for 4 days. So, you know, I'll say I fly out on a Sunday, I get there Monday, we shoot Tuesday, I fly back Wednesday.
Yeah. How much more difficult is it to do your job from Texas than it is from New York? Any more?
Well, I do it from both. So, but I mean, it's only an hour time difference from New York. It maybe adds
On a plane,
an hour,
it doesn't matter.
2 hours to the flight. But dude, you get so used to just strapping your happy ass in a seat, and it's like, all right, just gonna veg out on some movies. And I used to read a lot on planes, and had my own portable DVD player. I was like, when I finally had some money, I was like, dude, I'm gonna buy one of those portable DVD players.
Yeah.
I'm going into Best Buy. And I told the guy, I was like, dude, I need a portable DVD player. I fly a lot, but there's no plugs. Which one can I get extra batteries for? And then I need a CD case because I need to carry at least 10 movies.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So at that time, dude, I was, I'd buy tons of DVDs.
Yeah.
I still got them all, man. I probably got like 400 DVDs.
You should see my entertainment center full of DVDs over there.
And dude, I'm like, okay, all right, what I haven't seen, what's new, what do I like, what's always a good one, and throw them in there. And then my carry-on was like my little portable DVD player, the extra batteries, and my headphones, and a selection of DVDs. Because back then, dude, it was everybody shared the TV up above.
Yeah.
And then when they started like, oh, everybody got their own screen now. I was like, oh shit. I was like, this is nice. And then, iPads came out and tablets and everything. And I was like, all right, well, if there's nothing good on here, I've got some stuff downloaded, so I'm good. I'm like, yeah.
Change the game.
Yeah, because before that, man, I'd get on a plane, I'd read half a book on the way to a job, read half a book on the way back, and split it up with some movie time. And I'm on a plane so much, I'm like, dude, I don't even care to read right now.
I just want to sleep.
Yeah, I'll just
I would want to sleep on a plane, but I've never been able to. I'm just,
it's like sometimes I sleep on planes, sometimes I don't. It just depends on how exhausted I am or how comfortable I feel.
Yeah.
And but man, sometimes, dude, I'm like, I don't want to read anything, and I just put a movie on, and I'm like, maybe I'll fall asleep to this one. Okay, I didn't. All right, what's the next movie? All right, maybe I'll fall asleep to this one.
Yeah.
And you're on a plane a lot when you're like, seen it, don't want to watch it, seen it. Damn, I went through all the new releases.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what they got in the archives.
When did you start wanting to get into acting? Where did that come about?
Well,
was that always the...
It's always been a thing. I never took the proper time when I was younger to actually go and chase it. Mm-hmm. So that is definitely on me. I may have missed my opportunity.
Is it a regret?
Yeah, yes and no. There's a lot of shit that I could look back in and be like, damn, I wish I'd have done that different.
Yeah,
just dwell on it and let it rule my life. And we're always going to do that.
Yeah. We don't have to dwell on it.
But you know what I mean? Like, if I want to dwell on it and let it be like that, I regret, like, oh my God, it's like, I could. But then I'm like, shit. I was like, I had a good opportunity at one point. I didn't take it, And then, it's still something I would love to do. I don't know if I'm going to be able to.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of hard when your bread and butter is one thing, but to switch over, you almost have to give one up.
Yeah, I was gonna say you have to abandon it to go full steam
and
ahead.
then it's like one of those things where it's like, it's kind of like Tarzan, where it's like some people, they're like, hey, here's a rope, come on, and you're like, oh, okay, I'll swing that rope, whatever. And some people, it's like that rope's not right there where you can hold on to one and hold on to the other one. Some people, it's like, okay, well, I got to get a lot of speed and hope I catch that rope, because if not, I don't know if that rope's going to be here when I get back to go back to the other side.
Scary thing.
And you're just like, well, you're on such a train, and it's like, am I really going to throw away what has been so good to me? And it's like, if I had an opportunity, if an opportunity presented itself for me to do it, I'd probably take the risk.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to, You know, and some people are like, oh, it's stupid. I would, that's how you find out or not. And I'm like, yeah, but, I like what I do. And, I don't want to take a huge risk of fully giving up something and then end up in the middle with nothing.
Yeah.
And, the people, plenty of people can come at me right now and, argue those points.
Yeah.
Fine. But you're not feeling what I'm feeling.
Yeah, they're not living your life.
So, and I hear you loud and clear. I've heard it. But I just don't, right now, I'm not seeing I don't see anything at the moment that I can go and grab a hold of right now. I don't know.
Huh.
It's just one of those things where it's like, look, I'm just going to do me, you do you, and leave me alone.
Yeah.
I don't come and throw rocks at you while you're mowing. Shut up. Like,
it's interesting though, man. I mean, seems like a natural transition, right?
Yeah, but one of the things that a lot of guys forget is, oh, dude, I'm going to go to LA. I've been really good at modeling. I'm on the top of the game out here. I'm moving to LA and, whatever, modeling will be there. And they get out and realize, dude, you're one of 10,000 other good-looking dudes trying to do the same thing.
Yeah.
You would actually have a better advantage if you weren't so good-looking.
Makes sense.
And that's why I'm like, no, I'm not just going to move out there and be like, yeah, modeling's good. Got that in the bag. Because they don't give a shit that you were a model. They're like, great, bro, can you act?
Yeah.
And sometimes it's harder because they're like, oh, he's good looking. He thinks he's a shoo-in. It's not all, it's like one of those situations where people are like, oh, well, you're good looking. Like, everything just must work out. And I'm like, I'm like, if you're an asshole, you're an asshole. Sometimes people just don't give a shit if you're good looking or not. Like, I sure as shit don't. I treat everybody, I'm like, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. I'm like, I don't care if you've got one tooth or if you got all of them, or half an eye, or like half an ear or one eye or whatever. I'm like, if you're going to be a nice person, I'm going to treat you like a nice person. If you're going to be an asshole, I'm like, okay, cool. Well, I know I don't want to associate with you.
Yeah.
So a lot of people go out there and they're like, oh yeah, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make it. And I'm like, dude, I hope you do. But don't act surprised when no one gives a shit that you were a top model when now you're just back at the beginning.
Yeah.
You need to remember that.
That's a good point.
I mean, look at one of the greatest basketball players ever, Michael Jordan. He's like, I'm going to go play baseball, and realized you're back at the bottom, homie.
Yeah.
And you know what? He took it with grace. He was like, fine. And then he came back to basketball. It's what he's damn good at.
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't terrible at baseball, but he's just amazing at basketball.
Yeah.
Like, unless, you're Bo Jackson. I mean, there's only been one Bo Jackson. Like,
so who from the modeling world has gone over into acting and made
quite
it like
a few?
Like who's some of the big ones that Mark Wahlberg, right? Obviously.
Yeah, I think, was Channing Tatum a model before? Ashton Kutcher, I think, modeled. I think Tom Welling, I think, even modeled before, he landed some small stuff and then Smallville.
Yeah.
And I mean, and he's still a super nice guy. I got to meet him a few years ago, and I was like, dude, this is awesome. I fucking watch Smallville like all the time. But he's a super nice guy.
Yeah.
He was just like, hey, man, what's going on? I'm Tom. I was like, hey, nice to meet you, Tom. And then, I mean, I don't know who else was like a super successful model that, I don't know. I mean, dude, my manager always makes fun of me because he's like, hey, so-and-so? Could be a guy or a girl or whatever. I'm like, I don't know them personally. I don't know who they are. On the modeling side.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I don't know who she is. Dude, what do you mean? She's like one of the biggest girls right now. And I'm like, I have no effing clue,
You're just not in the,
I'm like, dude, my bad, bro. I was like, I don't know who she is. I haven't heard the name enough times and seen the face enough times. I don't care. And I'm like, that's great, man. I was like, I hope she's doing great.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know her.
That's funny. So, who else? Did you listen to the Danica Patrick podcast with Joe Rogan?
Some of it.
So she doesn't know anything about cars.
Dude, Cole Trickle, bro. Days of Thunder. But she's a solid driver.
She's a hell of a driver.
Yes, the girl.
She's like, I don't know.
She'll like, I will throw that car around.
And I can tell you where it's fucking up.
Yeah, and I can tell you how to drive. I can tell you what.
Yep.
I can tell you what it's doing, so you can fix it.
Exactly.
But I thought that was awesome. When I heard that, I was like, "Damn, that's badass."
I was shocked.
Just an ability to drive the damn doors off of something. No, I can't fix a motor.
No,
but I mean, I think that's quite. I'm sure that's more people than we realize that are in racing. They know just enough.
I find it so
They're just good at something, like we were saying, like a teamwork. Like me, I know how to do my job. I don't know how to do the post work. I know what they're doing. I don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
I don't know all the intricate details of how to, change things in post on a photo. Like, I know that the lighting guys are doing this, or it's right on me, or, I'm getting the reflection, just simple shit. But to set up a whole studio lighting that way, I'm like, I know of what they're doing.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it. And I think that's just her. She's like, yo, man. She's like, I'm in the driver's seat.
dude, I was mind blown. So
I'm gonna win or blow this car up.
So we raced cars. My dad, my brother, and we raced dirt track growing up.
Oh, awesome.
And so we're always
in a dirt track near
in Alvin. In Alvin, there's one. Yeah,
no shit.
Yeah, on the way to Angleton.
Okay,
yeah.
All right.
Texas Thunder Speedway. Is the name of the racetrack.
Okay.
And there's one over off Highway 99 on the way to like Mont Bellevue.
Okay.
There's a big track over there, and there's Battleground. Anyways, there's a bunch of little tracks around there.
That's cool.
But so I found it like amazing that she said, I don't know anything about cars. I just raced them, because she went over to Europe when she was in high school. She quit high school at like 16 years old or 15 years old or something like that, and went to Europe to race Formula One. Or maybe the lower class of Formula One, whatever it was, but left her family.
Like the AA, AAA.
There you go.
Yeah.
But I was like, because everybody that raced here in our little local whatever.
Yeah, you get like, I have a buddy, it's like Formula, like the Formula cars, like you have Formula Mazda, Formula Ford, and they're like the 4 cylinders. But man, those cars are awesome to watch.
So, but around here to race, you got to work on your own shit, because nobody can really afford to have a team. Like having a team is not a thing. You
are your team.
Exactly. It was me, my dad, and my brother breaking down cars and rear ends and straightening shit and doing whatever.
Yeah.
You raced on Saturday and then spent Sunday through Friday fixing the car so you can race again on Saturday.
Yeah.
So it was cool. It was fun. But when she said that, I was like, what? I was like, she said something like she didn't know what a V8 was. And I thought she was joking. But I don't think she was.
She may have just been like playing. I'm sure she knows like a V8, V10, V12. That's like.
I would hope so, but she sure made it sound like she didn't, and she didn't care to know. And she's like, I don't want, because she drove.
I don't think she needs to. I think she's proved herself to where she's like, I don't need to know the compression ratio of my car. It's a 10 to 1. What? I don't give a shit. Is it ready to race? Because I'm gonna.
So
I'm going to be pulling in like 30 laps, and you're going to give me a new set of tires, and I'm going to go out there and burn those too.
Here's the point. Here's the point of all of it is I never thought about it like that before with any aspect. I was like, oh, you race cars, you're into cars, and you're whatever, because that's what got the whole conversation started. Was he was like, what do you drive around? And she's like, I don't know, whatever they give me. Because she's sponsored by Chevy, or she's sponsored by
the rental,
Lexus or whatever. And so they give her cars to drive around. So when she gets snapped, this is Danica Patrick in a new Suburban, or her in a Mustang, whatever it was. She's, I don't know, whatever they give me. I'm driving a Lexus or something right now. And he's like, well, why don't you get like a Vet or something? Rogan's talking shit. And she's like, I don't care. What am I going to do?
And then he's like trying to track down, what is it, the pink Corvette of the lady. And she's like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, he's like, this is what you need.
Yeah, or he tries to find like, what was it, like a Viper, like a pink Viper or something like that that he's looking up. Yeah, and she's like, no, that's not me. No thanks.
It's crazy. So, but she's just like straight not into cars. Not in, because he, I think, pulled up. He's got like a old.
He's got a badass Corvette.
Yeah, he's got like that's what I'm saying.
63 to 67 body.
Yeah,
dude. I saw it on Jay Leno's Garage.
There you go.
Which I love that show.
Great show.
But yeah, man, he's got a badass Corvette.
Yeah. So I think he was driving that day and was like trying to like show off and whatever. She's like, nah, I don't care.
He's probably like, yeah, race car driver. I'm bringing my car. And she's like, yeah, that's great, bro.
Exactly. So, but like I said, it was eye opening. It's just, that kind of thing. It makes me think differently than I've ever thought about stuff. Listening to you talk about.
It's funny because it's like, oh, they're a race car driver. You assume they know a lot about cars at that level.
Exactly.
But
it's
you're like, well, I guess not.
Yeah. You race Formula One, you race NASCAR. Like, it's hard for me to comprehend you not knowing everything you need to know about cars.
Yeah, like I can understand a guy driving a Formula One car, like him knowing aerodynamics and grip and how the car is driving, but not how intricate those cars are to work on.
Yeah.
Versus a guy from NASCAR where it's a frame,
And
a
a
body
motor.
barely held on, a seat, 4 tires, a stick, and a steering wheel.
And 1,000 horsepower.
Yeah, and where a lot of those guys are real grassroots. Like, they're coming from working on their own cars. And,
That's what I'm saying. A lot of them are dirt track, open wheel racers that go into asphalt, that go into sprint cars, and there's a gradual transition there.
Yeah. Well, a lot of F1 guys, especially the younger crowd, they not the younger crowd, sorry, but remember Michael Schumacher?
Yeah.
I mean, that guy still drove F1 karts, like 125cc and shifter karts.
Mm-hmm.
He would still practice in those even when he was racing Formula One.
Yeah. It's
Like,
break it down.
those things are hard to drive. I tell people, I'm like, dude, I did it for a summer racing an F1 kart. And they're like, really, Parker, you're racing go-karts? And I'm like, have you ever driven a 125cc F1 kart?
Yeah, 80 mile an hour. And
I'm like, yeah. There's a fiberglass seat, a couple of millimeters of sheet metal attached to a frame, and then like 2 inches in the cement, and you're doing 80 miles an hour, and there's nothing else than that in your suit.
Yeah.
And they're not that easy to drive fast through corners into control.
Yeah.
Like, I remember seeing a lot of dudes. I even did it once. Like, you get on that brake way too hard because it's a single brake in the back on the axle. You lock that thing up, dude, you're going to face the other way in a blink of an eye. Like, it really teaches you how to drive something through a turn.
Yes.
And I loved it, man. It was a ton of fun. My buddy from Philly, Nick, he was doing that and then started racing the MX-5, the Mazda Miatas Playboy Cup Series. And had a Formula Mazda that he was racing for a little bit. And then got on a pro team. Started in karting.
Wow.
And then went to MX-5, which is just a bigger version of a kart. And because he didn't start in anything super fast and expensive, he learned how to drive a car through a turn.
Yeah.
All about just pure driving skill. Because he's like, well, dude, I can't slow this car down because it doesn't have enough torque to
get it back going.
Yeah. They're like, I need maximum speed going in.
Yeah. There's so if you're into all that kind of stuff, sounds like you are. You got
I dabble in a few things.
So there's a documentary on Amazon called Ford versus Ferrari.
Oh, really?
When
All right, I gotta check this out.
they talk about so Enzo Ferrari's in the going in the 50s. It was after World War II. Ferrari was coming back. They were winning all the races at Le Mans was the big thing. It was a 24-hour race at Le Mans.
Oh, okay.
And
was this with the GT40 back in the day?
yes.
Right.
So this is when Ford come out with the GT40. This is when Carroll Shelby was head of the Ford Performance team.
Yeah.
They had Mario Andretti, Carroll Shelby from
Lazy Chassis Shelby Copeland.
There you go. My dad has one sitting in the shop right now.
Really?
Yes.
Is it an original or
So it's a
factory? Like
kit
what is
car.
it? Yeah, like what is it? Factory 5 and then
yeah, he's got
those guys out of South Africa that do the GT40 or something like that.
So there's several different companies. They're here in the States. He got his from Missouri. It's a rolling chassis. You
for the AC chassis.
Yes.
But there's those guys out of South Africa that do the GT40 replicas.
Possibly. I don't. Well, that's what I'm saying. As I think there's places in the States that do them as well.
Oh, okay.
There may be South Africa as well. But,
Maybe I'm mistaken. All right.
Yeah, but so anyways, Carroll Shelby from Pittsburgh, Texas. Mario Andretti, which I don't know that he is. I'm gonna look this up right now because I've always wondered this. He lives in Texas now, but I don't know if he is from Texas.
There's an old documentary that I watched with Mario Andretti, and it was when he was just getting out of IndyCar, and it involved his son, and it was like a whole story about him, and this guy found one of his original race cars, and it's all about him, Mario, and his family, and then another story of this guy rebuilding this old race car at the same time, and then it ends with him getting into this one of his original race cars this guy built.
Really?
It's really cool.
Do you remember the name of it?
I'm trying to remember. Super Speedway.
Super Speedway. I'm gonna write that down.
Really good. Really good film based on them. And then there was another one that I watched. I think it's called F1, and it goes through all the history of Formula One from the start of racing and where the cars just started getting so fast and dudes are just dying left and right, and everything that went into the changing, how the technology had to get brought in to make drivers safer, the track safer, and everything, all the way up until now. Man, dude, that was a solid documentary. I was glued to that.
Yeah,
I think it's called F1.
There was so, like I said,
and then Ron Howard did a great movie, Rush.
Yes.
Really good.
Very good movie. That was a Ron Howard, great movie. So Mario Andretti is from Croatia and lives in Pennsylvania, so I'm fucking wrong. But I want to say for whatever reason,
way off.
I want to say
Swanson.
Oh,
Check out the briefcase. Samsonite.
Way off. I want to say he owns a ranch in Texas, like a hunting ranch in the hill country somewhere, like Uvalde.
Probably.
So for whatever reason, I want to say that's true. Somebody told me back, 20 years ago when I was, I don't know. But anyways.
Believe in everything?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So in this documentary, it kind of runs through post-World War II, Ferrari rebuilding his factory, getting back into races. So Ferrari's first love was racing.
Yeah.
He sold cars to the public, put out like a factory and sold cars to fund his race teams. Now Ford was at the same time, this is post World War II, there had the 50s, you notice there wasn't any sports cars. Like the Chrysler, GM, Ford, Chevrolet, everybody kind of decided that they weren't going to do sports cars. They weren't going to race. They weren't going to put out these production cars and do all this stuff. And there was kind of like an unknown rule. Well, then Chevy came out with Stingray and started, and the Corvette in '63.
Yeah, which almost didn't make it.
Well, the
original Corvette.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But what happened is they started racing it. And when they started racing it, they would win. The whole idea was win on Sundays to sell on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
And so Ford was like, well, the hell with this. They're doing it. Obviously, they're not going to follow by the rules. So they started coming out with the Mustang. The Mustang was 65.
Or 64 and a half if, early release.
Yeah. So there you go. So, and I don't remember all exactly the dates and this and that, but it was, Ford decided they were going to go to Le Mans. And they were going to win the Le Mans. And Ferrari had come in 1, 2, 3 for the last 5 or 6 years, or whatever, was just dominating all those tracks and this and that. So Ford came out with the GT40 at the time. Carroll Shelby designed it. Took this and that. It had a big American V8. It was faster and more powerful, more aerodynamic, more all that than every other vehicle out there. And they would run laps around everybody. But Le Mans is not about running laps because they blow up on lap whatever. And so first year Ford came out, they raced like 4 cars and they all blew up. One of them made it like a lot longer than the other ones, but they were lapping everybody. They were so much faster. And anyways, I won't go into the whole documentary, but the whole thing kind of runs through how Ford gradually overtook Ferrari in the race car game. And, Carroll Shelby and that whole team kind of tweaked and this and that.
Yeah, because you had the AC, then they developed a Daytona
exactly.
the Cobra Daytona.
Yeah.
And that was actually a really cool story. And the kid was like, just chop the back end off of it straight up, and then ended up having a job, like a career just from that.
Yeah.
And they were like, what? He's like, yeah, man, just chop the back end of it off. And then that's why it has that weird flat end on it, but super aerodynamic.
Yep. The other thing, they have the guy, he's still alive. He was, Ferrari was like getting his old age, right? And he was a notorious asshole. And everything that broke during the race, like every, crankshaft broke or steering wheel, shaft sheared off or pin came loose or something like that. Everything that went wrong on race day, he would take, put it in a glass box, and put it up in the engineering room to remind them of their failures, basically, right? And he
kind of cool in a way, though.
Dude, yeah, I was like, that's pretty, yeah. But he was like kind of a notorious asshole, and so he wanted to redesign. If I remember correctly, he wanted to redesign like the entire concept of the motor and how they did it. Like I think he was wanting to put the motor in the rear and do this and do that, and all his engineers and his management team and all that stuff were telling him it was crazy and we can't do it, it's gonna cost too much money, whatever. So he fired them all. And then he elected like this 24-year-old engineer that was like one of the young guys or whatever, and said, you're head of engineering now. This is what I want to do, make it happen. And so that guy's still alive. And he's in the documentary talking about all this and saying how it all was. And then Enzo Ferrari's son, who is about his father's age at that time, is talking now. And it looks exactly like him, which is creepy. But it's a great documentary, man. And then he's got Andretti on there talking, and then all the guys that were in there with Carroll Shelby, all the Ford guys.
That's awesome.
Henry Ford III, I think, was talking about. He was
my girl, Erin, her great grandfather or her grandfather. She's gonna kill me when she realizes I can't remember if it was her great grandfather or grandfather. Was a chauffeur for Henry Ford at one point
in Detroit.
Yeah, like back in the day, like chauffeured him for a minute.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I was like, that is so awesome.
That's awesome.
I'm like, that is. Like, I remember when she told me, I go, wait, what? She was like, yeah, because she knows I love cars.
Yeah.
And I was like, Dad, okay, that's pretty cool.
I love you a little bit more, babe.
Yeah, I was like, that's awesome. Well, that's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, man. What else? So we got in Austin, Lubbock.
Yeah, San Antonio. We actually get out to Louisiana. We hit Galveston randomly. Like, it's like, let's just go to Galveston.
Yeah.
All right, let's go. I mean, well, hell, we're so close from here.
Galveston's a good spot, man. They got some good spots.
I wish there was more places to eat down there.
Whoa, they got a ton of places to eat. We got to talk.
All right.
There's some hidden gems down there.
Okay. All right, good.
I went to school
Maybe it was because I was away for so long.
I went to school at A&M Galveston.
Oh, okay.
So,
all right, shit. Yeah, because Aaron and I, we love going down there, but there's only like, I guess from what we know, there's only a couple spots down there.
Yeah. Well, everybody goes to the spot. Everybody goes to Fishtails. You know, you go to the seawall and the different little places down there. There's some good spots.
I'll hook you. You're gonna have to give me a list then for down there. All right, good. That's good news to have. Awesome. I'm happy about that.
You go down to Corpus at all? Frequent Corpus?
No. Unfortunately, we haven't made it down there yet. Usually, because when we're even close to Corpus Christi, we're usually out with her family out that way. Her family has a farm. Her mom and all her siblings still have a piece of property down there that was passed down and split over time for the family members. So we usually do, holidays with her family out that way. So it's just like, all right, we'll go there and then we'll make it back. Yeah. And what's funny was we're not far from Corpus Christi when we're there. We're like 45 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, we just need to. So we were actually talking about that, how it's like, all right, maybe next time we'll do that and then go down and then make our way back.
Yeah, Corpus is like a coastal version, not as populated as San Antonio.
Oh, okay.
They got like equate the Riverwalk to like their seawall. I mean, there's a
Okay.
bunch of bars, bunch of little shops, stuff like that. Corpus also has a very, very good Texas country music scene. They've got.
You know what's funny is I've also, you know where I've never been, which when growing up, it was the place to go.
Let me hear it.
Never cared to go, was South Padre.
I've been 3 or 4 times.
And you know, I tell people that and they're like, what?
I got arrested in South Padre once.
And I'm like, no, I never cared to go to South Padre. And I was like, and I've only been to Mexico once.
Well,
and everybody's like, wait, what, dude? You never went to South Padre. You never went down to Mexico growing up. I was like, no, man. I was like, the one time I was in Mexico, I was in Sayulita on the West Coast for work, and it was beautiful.
Yeah.
But I was like, I've never been fortunate to go anywhere else in Mexico.
Well, you don't want to go in the border town, right? Like, so South Padre is like.
I used to hunt just north of there in Cotulla.
Cotulla,
Yeah, which is like an hour from the border.
Yeah.
And we used to do a lot of bow hunting down there and like bolt action, like deer hunting, hog, coyote, stuff like that. We used to do a lot of hunting down there. And then, but yeah, never made it further south.
Yeah, I've been to Padre a few times. It was, I went spring break, freshman year of college, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that was the thing is I was like, it always seemed like, it's just too much for me. I don't want to go party down there. It just seemed like too big of a thing. For me personally, I was just like, it just seemed like too much.
That's probably a good call. Because it's a big thing.
We spent a lot of time in College Station.
Dude, I love College Station.
Because my aunt went to school there. She was living there with her husband. Yeah. And their kids, and then we had friends that went to A&M and Blinn. So, it was like, dude, right?
It's not that far of a drive from here.
No, and it was super quick. Dude, we get off of work on Friday, late, drive up there, straight into partying.
Yep, there by 9 o'clock.
Party Saturday, drive back Sunday.
Dude, you got it.
Sleep it off.
So, I went to school at A&M Galveston. We had season tickets to the Aggies game. So, A&M and A&M Galveston are actually sister schools. They don't. Yeah. So, there's only it's A&M and College Station, A&M Galveston, and then I recently found out there's an A&M in fucking Saudi Arabia or something like that.
What?
Yeah. That's
actually kind of cool.
Yeah, they have an engineering branch school in I'm pretty sure it's Saudi Arabia or Qatar maybe. But they
somewhere really far away.
Yes.
That's actually pretty cool.
But those are the only associated A&M schools. So A&M Corpus Christi and A&M Prairie View, stuff like that aren't necessarily A&M schools, right? But A&M and A&M Galveston are. And so when you go to A&M Galveston, you can get tickets and you can get all the perks or whatever as if you were going to Texas A&M.
Yeah, just like the rest of the student body.
There you go. So we had season tickets. We'd go up there on the weekends. Same thing. I had friends at Blinn, friends going to A&M. We'd stay the weekend. And then, I think...
Dude, every game day 30 packs were so cheap.
Dude.
It was it's game day. 30 packs, $15.
Yeah.
What?
13 bucks.
15 cents a beer. This is amazing.
$13 Natty Lights saved my life. Yeah, dude, we had a freaking blast. Great time. And I think it would have been my junior year of college had I finished out. Hurricane Ike hit. And A&M Galveston closed down for a semester and a half or something like that. So all my buddies who were still in college, they moved them to A&M University in College Station.
Oh, okay.
And they spent almost a full year there while they were rebuilding.
What a nice little perk out of that.
Dude, same tuition.
There's always
same
a silver
whatever.
lining to
Dude,
everything,
all
right?
that shit, right? So anyways, I had free rent every weekend, was up at College Station freaking having a blast.
Dixie chicken.
Dude, loved it, man. Love that whole place. And I'm a big fan of College Station. And just the surrounding area is beautiful. They do a bunch of good barbecue up there.
Freebirds back in the day.
Freebirds was the first place I ever got introduced to Freebirds was
me
College
too,
Station.
man. That was the first place I was ever eating Freebirds.
Yeah. That's
Back
good times.
in the day.
I'm in Kinney, Texas, which is up north of Dallas. We just spent some time there this past summer, and I'm a big fan of that place. That place is blowing up.
Dude, the whole Dallas-Fort Worth area has been changing a ton.
It's crazy.
Because I used to not really. I'm like, Dallas seems like more corporate and this and that.
Mm-hmm.
They do not. It's changed so much now. You're like, yeah, dude, Dallas is pretty hopping.
Yeah, that's what. So McKinney would be equivalent to like, I guess, like the Woodlands or whatever in Houston. You know, just
an old buddy of mine, Chance. He used to model back in the day, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's been in investments for a long time now. Went to school, got out of modeling years ago when he was still young, dude. He's got his own thing now. He's killing it. Lives up in Dallas.
hell yeah.
Yeah, I was like, dude, good for you. One of the smart ones. What do you think?
That's good, man. What do a lot of the guys do when they get done? They just kind of whatever. Everybody's got their own thing.
Yeah, I mean, it just really depends. You know, I've seen some guys do it for a little bit and then transitioning to, you know, some of them become restaurant owners or
Restaurant owner. That's interesting.
one guy I know is killing it in New York in the real estate.
Well, yeah. If you're doing anything in real estate in New York, I imagine you'd be.
No, I mean, but he did it real smart. Went about it the right way, you know, and then just use his network from the industry and just he don't even model anymore. He's just been killing it for years now.
I know one other model, and I gotta ask if you know him. He's from Dickinson, named Clay Honeycutt.
Clay Honeycutt? No, I won't.
I'm about to show you a picture.
All right. I'm terrible with names. Faces, I'm good with.
Yeah, speaking of College Station, he was a safety for Texas A&M, played football, and he went into modeling. I knew his sister. His sister and I she's a year younger than I am or something like that. A buddy of mine dated her when we were in high school,
cool. All right.
and it's her little brother. And so he's the only other guy I know that is a model of sorts, but I don't know who he.
I want to say his face actually looks familiar if that's him right there, but I don't think I've ever personally met him.
Yeah, he was on.
I may have. Sorry, Clay, if I have met you, my bad, dude. I'm terrible sometimes with names.
I doubt he's listening, but
you know, or if he is, that does happen to listen. He's like, oh, dude, I know that guy.
I think he was on Big Brother, the TV show.
Oh, okay.
And then I think from after that he got modeling stuff going or whatever.
Okay.
But anyways,
I can't do reality TV.
Oh, yeah. I don't know that I could either. But he, the last time I talked to him, he was a sophomore or junior in College Station, playing safety. He's a football player or whatever. I mean, he's 6'3".
That's
big,
awesome.
Big guy.
That's
and
cool.
Last time I talked, and he was
cool. That's badass.
Yeah, he was cool, right? So I mean, he wasn't like he's obviously a good looking dude and shit, right? But he was cool. We sat talking bullshit or whatever. I knew him when he was like 14, 13, something like that. And he was 20 then, so it was 6 years later. But yeah, I don't know what he's doing now or what he's like or whatever. But
if I run into him, man,
let him know.
know.
I think I got one more question for you. We're 2 hours and about 15 minutes in on this thing.
I told you, man, I can keep talking. I'm like, man, let's talk, bro.
Oh, no, we're going to have to come back for more because
Erin has to wrangle me sometimes. We go into stores, I start talking. She's like, oh, shit. She's like, babe, let's go.
Yeah. So I got to ask, your tattoo on your arm. Is it?
Oh, yeah.
Is it New Mexico?
No. So you got the native son, the Zia.
Okay.
And then, so I have the TX here.
Yeah.
My younger brother's got the same one, same spot.
Yeah. Because
and
Texas.
Then, and then I got the Zia down here at below my elbow. And then one of Aaron's friends, Dustin, he's an amazing tattoo artist. And I was like, hey, man, look, I have this idea, but I can't draw worth a shit.
Uh-huh.
So I'm going to have to send you some photos of design as kind of an inspiration board, and you got to help me piece it together because I know what I'm seeing, but I'm not good at it. So I tried to draw like one piece of it to try to give him an idea or whatever. And dude, I can't draw stick figures to like save my life. Even with a ruler, they're going to end up lopsided. Like, and so he's like, oh, he's awesome. And I was like, this is what I want, but I also want your own flair. I was like, you're an artist.
Yeah.
I was like, it needs to have your touch. Other than that, you're just, you're a contractor. This is what I want, build it.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I want you to have your flair to it. So he's like, dude, right on, man. And he's like, and I'm really loving where you're going with this. And I've always loved the Art Deco design of everything and Native American design and culture. And I mean, I don't have a whole bunch. I've got a little bit of Cherokee blood. But it was just more of a, like sometimes you learn about different cultures and you see their design and how they lived and everything. And you're like, dude, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, and you see a lot of the same design, like from Native and Art Deco and some of the designs and like on the buildings and everything where it's very similar. And, and if I'm not mistaken, a lot of it comes from that. And so he sent me back. I sent him a picture of the back of my arm where the tattoo's laid. He prints that out and then takes what I sent him, throws his own flair, draws it back, takes a photo and sends it to me. I was like, dude, that is amazing. So I get there and the only part, and I was like, remember, it has to stay down the back of my arm. I can't have a whole bunch flaring out of the side. I don't want to cause a bunch of issue, with work. Some dudes I know have tattoos all over the place. You'll see a photo of them, you won't even realize it. You're like, oh shit, that guy's got a full sleeve? I'm like, yeah. And you would never know because of Photoshop and makeup and everything else. But I was like, I don't want to
have to do that.
I don't want to have to, make it, harder for someone else. But, I still want to live my own life to a point.
Yeah.
And so just the part around the elbow is where he did a little bit of stenciling just to really help fine tune that area. But everything else, man, he stenciled it and he goes, nah, I don't like the position, cleaned it off, and then took a marker and free-handed it while looking at it, me just sitting on the side of the table with my arm down. And then he was like, you like that? Dude, that looks amazing. I'm like, was that stencil? He goes, nah, there's only this section here. He goes, I had to freehand everything else to, play with it as I had to go along. And, then took a darker marker, set it in stone. He's like, all right, let's get to work. Dude, laid down and like an hour and 40 minutes later, dude, it was done. I was like, holy shit.
That's badass.
This is amazing.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
And then, and then just had to deal with it scabbing.
Simple.
I thought I was going to fade it a whole bunch because I'd got it done and then I was freezing my ass off for 2 days and it was scabbed so bad for me and so dried out. I was like, dude, I'm going to have to get this whole thing retouched. Yeah. And luckily it came out good.
Yeah.
It was fine, but it was just peeling off like crazy because it was so cold and just so dry that it was just flaking apart. Scabs falling off. I was like, oh, shit.
Well, Parker.
Dude, it's been a pleasure, man.
It's been fun.
Let me know if you want me back, dude.
Dude, oh yeah. Like I said, I have so much more. Every time I get done with one of these, I'm always like, man, I didn't touch on this. Man, I didn't touch on this. But it's good because we got more to talk about when you come back.
Yeah, let me know, man. It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Hey, man, thank you for coming on. It's been a lot of fun. It's been eye-opening. I feel like I've learned a lot. But like I said when I started this thing, this is why I want to do this podcast, is to meet people like you that I know nothing about you or what you do or anything like that.
And it's interesting, like, just to finish up and not get in a whole nother hour of conversation, because I feel like we could easily do this. Like, all right, let's open another Shiner. Let's do it. Next time I'm gonna bring me some Guinness. I'm like, I know it's not a Texas beer, but I love me some Guinness.
I won't cuss you for it.
All right, good. And then but I don't know, there's some good stouts out there now.
Yeah.
But that are Texas made.
We didn't even get into beer. We didn't even,
That's all right, dude. Plenty to talk about, man.
I know. Next time.
But yeah, man. It's a very different industry.
Yeah.
But it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it seems like it, man. It's awesome. You've done it for 13 years now, and
you're 14.
Yeah, you're seasoned vet in the game.
Oh yeah. I'm the old man.
Yeah, but that's good. That's good.
Yeah, the best part about it is like all my buddies, especially like a couple of my buddies that are former military and just people, they give me shit.
Well.
They pull the photos up of some of them. They're like, hey, Parker. And I'm like, yeah, bro. I'm like, you go do your thing. I support you. Thank you.
That's good, though. Hey.
Yeah, dude, you got to keep me in check, man. They got to keep me in line.
That means they love you.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on.
No,
It's been
man,
a lot
thanks
of
for
fun.
having me, man.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate
Until
it.
next time. Hey, tell everybody where they can find you at your Instagram, your all that.
At the Parker Gregory, and yes, it's at the Parker Gregory because someone else has Parker Gregory, so it's the Parker Gregory. So it's not an arrogant thing. So,
What about, you got any shoots coming up or magazine covers or anything like that coming?
yeah, the Armani stuff is out now for. Or the spring summer stuff is about to hit, and then it's always evolving. Check out Macy's, a lot of some other magazines coming out. I've shot so much shit in the last 2 months, I can't even keep. I'm like, when did we do that? What was that? This February?
It's good,
dude.
man.
It's been nuts this year so far, but yeah, man, the Armani EA7 stuff has been awesome. Like, I'm really proud of that stuff.
It's good.
Beautiful photos.
I'm gonna have to check it out, man.
Appreciate it.
And you can check me out at the Lone Star Podcast on Instagram. I'm at the Lone Star Podcast page on Facebook, and Twitter is at Lone Star PCast. We're gonna be putting this thing up there. I'll attach Mr. Parker on all my posts, and so you guys can check him out. You'll get at least 3 likes, 3 bumps from the Lone Star Podcast.
I hope you get a few.
That's what I promise everybody is you'll get at least 3 bumps, three new members.
Hey man, I'll take one.
Me,
I'm not trying to be greedy.
I'll make my wife like it, and I'll ask mom too. So that's your 3. So
Hey man, whatever.
awesome, man. Well, I appreciate it again. We'll have to do it again.
Appreciate it. Yeah, dude, it's a good time.
Thank y'all for listening. Love y'all. Have a good one. All right, guys, that concludes today's episode with Mr. Parker Gregory. Thank you again for coming on. Had a blast with that guy. Learned a lot. That's, again, one of the reasons why I want to do this podcast is get to know cool people doing cool things, something different. I mean, he's lived the last 15 years a life that, we couldn't even think about, dream about, or even try to comprehend. Just traveling the world, doing modeling, being on those shoots, doing that stuff. I mean, that's really cool, and stuff that you don't ever really think about. We all see the magazines, we all see the commercials and stuff like that, but getting to know him and talk to him a little bit about what goes into that, it was really eye-opening and learning experience for me. So I appreciate him coming on and doing that. Wanted to give some credit to our intro and exit music for today. Our intro song was "You Really Got Me" by the great Van Halen, and that's a tribute to Mr. Parker, talking about his love for them. And similarly with our exit song, "The Day That Never Comes" by Metallica. And that's one I've always enjoyed myself. It's really long, it's almost 8-minute long song, so that's why I put that one on the end, so we can go ahead and let that one run out. Thank you guys for listening. As always, appreciate it. Have any questions, comments, concerns, let us know. Love you guys. Have a good one.